Hello, everybody. Good to see you again. It seems like it's been so long. Just recorded the PMP end of month spectacular, and Whoopi contacted me and said, "Hey, let's do a Paintisode and let's get Alicia in here." And I said, "Yeah, man, that sounds like a great idea." And as you can see, Whoopi, what do you think about that? Oh, you're not here yet. That's right, because you're being lazy. But he should be joining us very shortly. But I am here with Alicia. Alicia, how you doing tonight?
I am tired, but it is peanut butter jelly time, so I'm gonna eat my sandwich and talk with you about whatever.
There you go. All right, I like it. I like it. I can't eat peanut butter and jelly myself. I'm allergic to peanut butter, so that would just be that's like a jelly and poison sandwich for me. I die, which I'm less of a fan of. I'm not really enough of a fan of any kind of sandwich to feel like I should die for it.
Man,
I don't know, though. Maybe you're more of a fan.
Man,
Maybe you'd be willing to asphyxiate for your PBJ.
I don't know that I'd be willing to asphyxiate for it, but like I feel bad for people who have food allergies like you.
People like you. I see how it is.
Well, I have no food allergies, so I can eat like pretty much whatever I want and not care.
Right.
Like, but I think the one food allergy that I think I would literally just die if I had, because like I love the food so much that I would just die because I couldn't stop eating it, would be seafood.
Ah, you're a big seafood fan, huh?
Oh my god, I love seafood.
You got any particular? Is it like, is there a particular fish, or, is it shrimp, or just all seafood? Bring it on.
I'm pretty much if it lived in salt water at some point, I want it in my belly.
All right, fair enough. I can accept that. Very nice. And yes, folks, this is the kind of riveting content you're going to get for this Paintisode. No, we're going to talk about the PMP. I think Whoopi wants to do some PMP brainstorming here in a little while. But for, the beginning, Alicia and I, we're just gonna kind of, shoot the shiz night. Kind of talk about whatever comes up. Yes, I'm a fan of seafood myself. I can empathize with that. Not enough that I'd probably die for it, but I can appreciate that. I suppose for me it would be Diet Dr. Pepper, being that if I ever somehow developed an allergy to that, I'd be dead within days.
You like the diet stuff?
Oh, absolutely. The only thing I drink. Why drink empty calories? And as far as everyone out there who's like, but aspartame will kill you. Shut up. Everything kills you. Living kills you. I don't care about things killing me. I just don't want to be fat. Like, whatever. I'll die at 50, a better-looking corpse, and that's fine with me. At least I enjoyed my life.
I don't really care about like the aspartame or anything like that. Like I did when I was pregnant. I like stay away from all that stuff that you're supposed to stay away from. But
Sure, sure.
I just can't get over the taste of it.
Now, have you tried Diet Dr. Pepper? That's my question.
Yes. To me, I can still taste the difference between diet and regular Dr. Pepper.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, there's a taste difference. I guess that's true, but let me tell you what. From my perspective, it is. God bless it. Sorry, I keep screwing this up. This little model in my hand. Oh, there we go. My hands are too shaky tonight, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. Like, for me, I don't miss it. I don't notice a difference. I love it. I believe the commercials. It does taste more like regular Dr. Pepper. Hey, Whoop.
Hey, what's up?
Nice of you to join the Paintisode that was your idea.
I had to get the essentials, gather all the paints together, move all my drawing stuff around. I have a small living area, so I have to like adjust between Warhammer and drawing every now and then.
You know what I'm hearing here, Whoopi?
Yeah?
I'm hearing some excuses. That's what I'm hearing.
You're right. I just need to pile it all on top of each other.
Exactly. There we go. Now you got the right attitude.
So it sounds like it came in on a pretty interesting conversation about Dr. Pepper.
I was just discussing how Diet Dr. Pepper is a gift given to us by the gods, and we should all be thankful for their beneficence.
That's strange. I was just talking about that earlier today, about how wonderful it is.
You a fan of the DDP as well?
You know, I dabble. I dabble in the DDP.
So you're a DDPD.
Yeah, DDPDW, I guess.
Sounds good.
So, what's up, you guys?
Oh, okay.
No, go ahead.
Go. Staying on the Dr. Pepper conversation, I will say this. Out of all of the diet soda drinks, I think the Diet Dr. Pepper does taste better than the other diet sodas.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, by far.
I mean, Diet Pepsi's pretty bad, and Diet Coke, well, I mean, Jesus, you might as well just be drinking, like, malaria-infected river water filled with piss. I mean, it's just awful. I'm not buying it, Taylor Swift. You can tell me that it's all delicious, but you're not selling me.
The thing that gets me is the sodas that are both diet and caffeine-free, and I look at those and I'm like, I will drink water.
Yeah, that makes no sense. I agree completely. That is the stupidest thing in the world to me. Like, are you enjoying your brown, bad-tasting water? What the heck is the point of that?
Yeah, you want some chemicals? Let's have some liquid chemicals.
Absolutely. Now that we're fully in agreement on.
So, did you guys talk about anything about brainstorming ideas for the PMP or anything like that?
No. We have covered nothing of import or value. We have talked about seafood and PBJs and what else do we talk about? And then diet soda. So yeah, it's been very eventful so far. Oh, and we talked about how you're a slacker. We did talk about that.
Yeah, I'm pretty bad. I'm pretty bad.
Soda machine for the PMP could work. That's a brainstorming idea.
What was that?
Getting a soda machine for the PMP.
Oh yeah, like a soda machine. I'll go ahead and hire someone named Juan to drive it out to you guys.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's just what you said is just racist.
No. There's a guy down the street who works at Pepsi. His name's Juan. No racism. No racism intended. It's just, if anything, that's racist, Vince.
Just
Come
a
on.
matter of fact.
Oh, I see. I'm being racist for assuming you're racism?
Yeah, because I'm just stating a fact. He just works with Pepsi, man.
Sure.
Oh.
Likely story, Whoopi, a likely story.
But yeah, with Paintisodes, you have to split up the valuable information with some random hootenanny just to keep people into it.
Absolutely.
So how do you guys think the show went? Is there any thoughts on what you would like to improve, or if anyone's watching and they have any ideas or constructive criticism on what they would like us to do in the future or what they would like from the PMP, feel free to either email us or comment below, and we'll be reading those. But what do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, overall, I felt like it went well. It was long. Like, we got into more detail in each model, talked a lot more about technique, and I think that was good. But that was a hell of an endurance fest. I mean, I'm happy to put out 3 hours of content for people to paint to, which that's always great. Don't get me wrong, but man, it was a long PMP review.
Oh yeah, when Alicia and Kieran and I first started doing them, it's different when you're doing a Paintisode because you don't have to focus on pictures or anything. You can just kind of go off the cut of your own jib, but when you're focusing in on something, that can be a mental strain after a while.
I just so many inane comments, you can't help but go 3 hours.
Yeah. So I was thinking, what's a way we could speed it up? Because when I was doing them too, I wanted to figure out a way to make it faster, but it's hard to give quality reviews and make it faster.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't know if there is a way to speed it up. I think some things just take time, right?
Hmm.
You know, you cook a 3-minute egg, it takes 3 minutes. You review, 100 submissions in detail, talking about pros and cons, critiques, and all that kind of stuff. It takes 3 hours. I think that's just the nature of the beast.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm also thinking too. Maybe there's something we can do because me and Victor are going to be getting together for the Euro invasion team
Hmm.
to help spread it up a bit, bring back the European PMPs. So maybe there's a way we can divvy it between us. You, Alicia, and Kieran, and then me, Victor, Marcus, and Kai, where it can go a bit faster. Because I was thinking if we review them as well, that's going to be like 2-3 hour shows of redundant material. So
Well, I mean, and to some point, that's not totally bad because you'll have different opinions and different takes and different advice and all that kind of stuff. So it's not that there's no value there.
absolutely,
Um, but that being said, uh, yeah, sure. I mean, I could see we could always like split the month, right? And like one of us, whoever goes on and does it first, could take the first half of the month, and whoever. So if Euro goes first, they take the first. They, whomever is participating in the European invasion, takes the first half of the month, and then whoever else takes the second half of the month.
yeah, that sounds fair.
I've got.
Go ahead.
What if we just don't review ours? Like me, Karen, and Vince here, we don't talk about our stuff at all, and we talk about the European guys and you instead, and you guys can talk about us. So
Yeah,
if we cut
that's.
all that out, we might be able to get to everybody else's too.
I was kind of thinking the same thing actually. They were already kind of doing that a bit. They even did. You guys watch the last show they ever did?
I'm terrible. No.
Yes, I did.
They offered us an actual pretty funny challenge. You guys were talking about like you guys being the American Idol judges, right? Well, they came to the conclusion that me, Alicia, and Kieran all fit a pretty much like an archetype, and I'm kind of the Paula. I give the compliments and all that, and that Alicia was the one that would give criticisms, and Kieran would state something helpful and as far as like technique-wise. So they had proposed a challenge where we switch it up, and I become Alicia, Alicia becomes Kieran, and Kieran becomes Alicia or me. So that's also some fun things we can do between the two teams as well to break up it from being so mundane or get boring.
I don't know if I can stop being a hateful. I'm not gonna finish it. It's so hard.
By the way, we do have some viewers, just so you know.
Okay.
And right now, and John Taliby's watching, and he says this is a good time. You want to know what time it is here? It is 2:40 in the morning, my friend. And he said if you want an extra brain, he can join. So I sent him a link on his Hangout, but I don't know if he is on Hangouts. But John, if you are, that's where it is. I don't think I have John's email. Whoop, if you do, feel free to send it to him.
Yeah, I'll check. I think I have a huge list of emails from the PMP when we used to do them on Google Doc. That was such a dumb idea by me. I don't know why.
And William Page also checked in and said that he was happy to see the Paintisode. And Donald Davis gave us some feedback that he does like the longer format of the end of month review. So there you go. That's one vote in that favor. Also, okay. John Taliby said, "Isn't bad tasting brown water the definition of Coca-Cola?" And you are out of your mind, sir. Don't come on now. Crazy talk.
I'm gonna check my emails. Did you have any thoughts on what I said before, or responses to the questions?
I'm sorry, was I supposed to listen? No.
Oh, you.
Yeah, I mean, I think that all of those are perfectly fine ideas. Like, I think there is some, like, it's probably going to be the most entertaining if you're being who you are. And by that, I just mean, like, you know, don't try to be who you're not. Right?
Yeah,
Like, I mean,
yeah.
if you're Paula, you're Paula. Mr. Taliby, how you doing, sir? Welcome.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going well. How is the other side of the world right now? I think that all of those are perfectly fine ideas. Like, I think there is some, like...
Hey, John, is your speaker on? Are you still watching us?
I think there might be a...
Yeah, I'm joined in.
Because I can hear Vince's voice through your mic.
Yes, I can hear me, like, 30 seconds ago. Elby, how you doing, sir? Welcome.
Hey, how's it going?
Doing well. It's a self-referential loop. You may want to pause and/or mute. I think there is some.
Yeah, there's a bit of a delay on that. No, I agree. If anything, if we did that, it would be kind of like a off thing, like not the whole show, because I couldn't imagine going 3 hours long not being myself. That'd be, oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, I think in the end, the reaction should hopefully be fairly positive to the new format that is way too dark.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess, you know, we could just propose interesting competitions between each other to make it a little fun, get a little jabs in.
Yeah.
That'd be... Oh my god. You got it sorted, Tal?
In the end, the reaction should hopefully be.
Yep, I think so.
All right. So, I'm actually going over some models, doing some suggestions by Alicia, because I've also noticed that how when you do enough blending, it just kind of all blends together into one thing. So I'm going through with some just dynamic lines and colors to contrast it to separate the object so it doesn't look as flat. What are you guys up to?
Unsorted? I am up to telling John he needs to mute his computer, not himself, just his computer, so we can't hear us.
I'm actually going over some...
Is that better?
There you go.
Yeah. That's good. So what are you up to, Alicia and John? With some, as far as workbench?
I just finished eating a peanut butter jelly sandwich.
Oh, that sounds like an awesome paint project.
I can still hear me. A little more. A little more down, John.
Is that better?
There you go.
Yeah. That's good.
You may want to locate your headset, John. That might end up being my advice here on this one.
All right, hang on. I'll go and get some headphones.
All right, sounds good. We will wait in silence. That should be riveting entertainment for everyone.
So, what are you painting? More Pegasus Knights?
I am working on a very large conversion of a Pegasus Lord. I have like 6 Pegasus Knights. I have 13 total Pegasus Knights, so I have a lot of Pegasus Knights to paint by the time I'm all done. But I am working on converting over a Pegasus Knight to be my Lord. And as usual, as you may know from previous if you looked at my previous Knights, you probably know that when it comes to Pegasus Knights, I see no reason not to go all out completely with basing. The flying models are a great opportunity to be absolutely insane with your basing.
I could get on board with that.
So what this guy is let's see. So here we can see the Pegasus Knight, right? You notice he's on his little stupid flying base, but that's just there so I have something so I'm not touching the model. Here is the Pegasus Lord, right here, who you'll notice the end of his spear has been cut, or lance, I should say, has been cut off, and has been replaced with a pin. And then over here, you will notice a converted chaos-y, demon-y looking guy. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And then right here is the actual Chaos Steed that will be the actual base is on. So this guy sits on here, and this guy is stabbing him through the chest with a little pin and holding up the actual Pegasus Knight.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great. That's a great idea.
So it's going to be a little more complicated, being that there's like this one fig is actually 4 figs, and 2 of those are horsies, and yeah, he's going to be a big one, but that's all right. It's good times.
Are all those models plastic, or like is one of them like metal, or
Everything's plastic.
everything's plastic?
I despise plastic, or I can't talk. It's 3 in the morning. I despise metal like I hate hell and all Montagues. There is ugh, blah, blah, blah.
Really? A
Welcome
lot of
back,
times
John.
I actually prefer metal to plastic.
Why in the world would you ever prefer metal to the plastic? I have never heard a convincing argument for why this is, so let's hear it. I'm ready to destroy this. Go.
I don't have a good reason.
Oh, okay.
I started painting metal. I like metal. I don't know. I like the weight of it in my hand, I guess.
I see.
I could.
Yeah.
I could.
Go ahead, Whoop.
I was gonna say I could see an argument maybe proposed where metal could be comparatively better than resin cast in some aspects, but genuine like hard plastic, it's pretty hard to compare.
John, what about you? Where do you fall on the metal-plastic divide?
I've recently got back into doing, got into doing some Infinity models, and boy, is it hard pinning those little arms and legs and heads and things like that back together to get them to stick for any length of time. So no, I'm definitely a plastic guy after that.
I'll agree with that. Pinning is one of the most frustrating things with pewter. Right now I have a Galrock model that I've been meaning to do for quite some time, and I can't find pins that will hold the damn thing together.
I think the only thing more frustrating than pinning a metal miniature is not pinning a metal miniature, painting it, and then having it fall to pieces in your hands.
It's kind of a trial by fire when you first start playing with them.
My advice to you would be, if you're really looking for pins that will hold Galrock together, like I have the old metal mini for Galrock in my shelf. Do you have any wire hangers at your house?
Yeah, I actually nipped off a bunch to do that with. I just had to buy a Dremel to drill it in.
Do you have a regular drill?
Like a power? No, I don't.
Oh, all right. Well, then you're out of luck. Because yes, I don't use a Dremel like 99% of the time. That'll do the job quite effectively.
So, Vince, when you talk about hangers, are these like hangers that you hang a shirt on?
Yeah, absolutely, like a wire hanger, like the thing
Yeah.
that what's her name would come at you and say, "No more wire
hangers!"
Yes, like those.
Okay. Yeah, 'cause I'm normally pinning a 28mm figure with like paper clips.
Yes. Yeah. When it comes to like a normal guy, like this is all paper clips, and that's the right choice. for your man-sized figs. But when you get up to like bigger metals, if you ever have something that's like, oh, that was the wrong one. If you ever have something that's like so heavy that a paper clip isn't going to cut the mustard, then a wire hanger is where you want to go to.
Yeah, it works really well. I've learned it from Once Bitten. He used them for his Pegasus Knights and his Harpies.
Oh yes, that's right. Yeah, his movement pointy sticks. Right?
Yeah.
William Page responds that preferring metal over plastic is like preferring snail mail to email, cassette tapes to digital music, or a monarchy over a constitution. William, you are the man. Yes, I agree completely with all of those points. That is fantastic. And so I think what we learned there is that hipsters probably prefer metal, because I heard a lot of hipsterism in there. That's what that is. Hipsters are out there making cassettes and probably trying to resurrect the monarchy for all I know.
You leave my Walkman out of this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, that's good stuff. See, do you guys like resin cast though? To me, I feel like the bad things about the resin cast are almost just as bad as metal in some cases. Granted, it is easier to put together.
Was only the GW Finecast stuff. All the other manufacturers' resin products I've had have been excellent.
Yeah,
I would agree with that completely.
You took the words out of my mouth, John.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. Those Skyboard miniatures I was getting that were in resin cast were completely fine.
And even then, it was really only like the earliest runs. Like when they changed over, at some point, GW changed their material, right, from whatever they were using at first, which was just garbage, to some other material, and that one was a little better. It still doesn't feel like it wants to take paint super well, and like the problem I usually run into with it is you can get little pock marks, little tiny details, but for the most part it's okay. I would still take hard plastic again, yes, like every time, if I could.
Yeah, I agree.
But hey, whatever. It bothers me because I have some still old metal minis, and like some of the figs that I get are still in metal. And anytime I see something new and someone's doing it in metal, so for example, the Kings of War Kickstarter, which I ordered a bunch of those just because they're great for stand-in stuff for Warhammer or whatever, and and some of their bigger, like large size models are in metal, and I'm like, why? Why did you do anything in metal? I don't get it. Is there an economic angle to this I'm not aware of?
Yeah.
All right,
because
hit me, John.
It's like I think when GW first released their first modern plastic Land Raider kit, it was like £1 million for their mould, and you've got to sell an awful lot of Land Raider kits to recoup £1 million. So plastic is essentially large amount of money up front and negligible incremental costs, whereas other products have a much lower, or other molding techniques have much lower startup cost but much higher per unit cost, and that sort of thing. So it'd be interesting to see how GW go with a
Did we lose it?
I don't know.
Did we lose you, John?
Did he fall off the face?
No, still here. It's just catching up.
Oh, okay, there we go.
I got distracted by the sound of my own voice.
Oh, you're fine. Does anybody else have like a whistle in the background? Anyone else hear a whistle?
Yeah, I kind of do. I do.
I don't.
All right, who's got the whistle? Everybody, we got to mute ourselves one at a time because this is going to kill my soul. Alicia? Oh, who just did it? All right, well, one of you unmute yourself. There's one of the two of you. Whoopi, unmute yourself. Ah, it's not Whoopi, it's Alicia. You got a whistle.
Oh, yes! I feel like I just won something. Oh, the meager achievements.
I am.
The only thing I've got is my fan going in here. That's for my computer. I don't know what else was whistling.
Whatever it is, it's probably the most annoying noise ever in the universe. I'm just gonna say, if I had to benchmark it, it is a constant high-pitched whine that I cannot unhear, and it is going to erode my soul. They're like, I don't know if you want to turn something off or on or move something. It wasn't in here earlier.
All right, let's see if I can do this.
Alicia, is it an older fan?
No, it's a new fan. It's the one you hook it through your USB.
Oh, that might be why.
Yes, probably caused some feedback or something.
Yeah.
Here, I'll fix my mic again and see if that'll help.
So, John, you said you had some ideas on some things for the PMP?
I can't believe that Vince thinks a small fan noise is the most annoying sound he can possibly hear. He obviously has a different matrimonial relationship than most of us.
Yes, I do like the sound of my wife's voice. That is true. She's very nice. If she made that noise, I would have divorced her 2 days into the marriage.
You chose her for her singing ability, did you?
Yes.
Well, did that fix the noise? Is it still going?
Still going.
All right, I'm just gonna mute myself unless I have something funny to say.
You know, John, there's been some research that there's like this particular noise that sound can oscillate at that like human beings just find like it's sort of a subconscious thing, and it gets people sick and makes people unconscious, and there's this like very prolific sort of noise pollution, and whatever that was it. That was that exact thing.
Good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, PMP stuff. I want to make the review show useful. I mean, I hope, I would certainly hope, let me just say this, I would certainly hope that no one felt that we were, too harsh or anything like that. Obviously, that is not our intention in any way, shape, or form.
Well,
I'll wait for
people need to hear, I think, realistic feedback. If there's something which they could do that would improve their painting, then
it seems like they'd want to hear it, right? I mean, it seems like something you should be interested in. I know for me, that's certainly the case. Like, I value feedback. And fortunately, I have a couple good friends who don't hold back and, will generally seek to destroy and burn down everything I love. So that's really good. You've got to have a couple people who don't hold back in any way, shape, or form.
So I got myself a new source of inspiration.
All right.
I got the Angel Heraldez book, which is all about painting the Infinity models.
Nice.
So,
that's so beautiful. That guy does amazing work.
Yeah. Yeah. And I also got the new Vallejo set for non-metallic metallics, which comes with a box of a range of suitable yellows, greys, and the odd purple and turquoise and things, and some instruction sheets.
Yes, I've got that same set. It is quite good.
Yeah, I just about tried out. So that's that. And yeah, and he does it in a way which is different to the way kind of other people do. You know, he's using a mix of airbrush and brush. And then if you go look at James Wappel, he's completely different again. He's using mid-tones and then washes and all these different shades and all sorts of things like this, because he comes from a fine art 2D background. You know, he paints landscapes and bits and pieces. So.
Now, did you read that article that got thrown up on, I think, the PMP recently about the non-metallic metals? Did you look into that?
Yep.
I thought that was very interesting, and I thought, you know, so there was the discussion around the Sky Earth non-metallic metal, right, of having it actually reflect the horizon line. Now, Whoop, I know you've got like a 2D art background as well, so I imagine that wasn't, you know, a bunch of new information for you. But for me, I had never really even thought about it. But then when she showed the picture of like Colossus, I was like, oh yeah, of course. Like that guy always has the horizon line in his little metal self.
Yeah, I did read that. It's a lot of stuff I already knew, but it's nice to see how to implement it into a 3D figure. It takes a while to be able to catch on to that, but once you do, it's a nice asset to have.
Oh, I tried doing that Sky Earth NMM on a model last year, and I made a horrible mess of it, so it probably got repainted.
Nice.
It's like, this looks really easy to do in the thing. Paint. Ah, no, I got the shades the wrong way round, and it was a shocker.
And that's always so frustrating. Like when I first started doing gems, that would always piss me off. It's like, it's pretty much 3 different colors, but it doesn't go together like that. It doesn't look like the pictures.
No.
Yeah, I'm very keen to try it, John, just because, like, you know, my problem with non-metallic metals is that I just feel like it's so, one, it's incredibly time-consuming, right? And, you know, I'm not one to rush models. I certainly don't mind a little time, but there's a limit to even my patience. And 2, you know, it's so hard to get it to actually even look like metal on any kind of big scale. If you're painting like tiny historicals, I think you can get away with it a lot easier because it's super easy to get that, you know, giant high contrast. But the second you get up into like even 28 millimeter, it becomes like a real challenge to actually get that contrast to show.
I think you can paint non-metallic metals or paint metallics to the same level as we paint our normal colors. You know, many of us, you look at like a red or a blue or a green, and people will have layered 3, 4, 5 plus shade variations across a cloak that's green. But the same person painting a cloak gold takes out their burnished gold, paints 1 coat on it, and then gives it a wash of brown ink and says done, and wonders why it doesn't compare. And I think that's the problem with what people have done with metallic colours, is they've painted it as kind of 1 base colour and a bit of a wash, and then stopped there, and then wondered why it doesn't work.
I think that's probably true. At the same time, I also know that, like, for me, I've experimented a lot with like making with highlighting on that. So that, like, that if you look at that Green Knight I threw up tonight, like, he has probably 4 different shades. Like, he has a base coat of a gold, and then that's washed in 2 different colors of washes, and then it's highlighted back up with, I think, about 4 different transitions up to like a silver, and then that silver was glazed over with a polished gold glaze to just like tint it back to gold.
Yep.
And I was like on just the very thin edge ridgeline of the center of his helmet, and I was pretty happy with how that came out. it's just funny, like, achieving that effect. I think when you were trying to achieve that effect with non-metallics, yeah, you gotta set, like, sure, I'll do 5, 6 transitions on a cloak, but man, you better be ready for like 15, 16 transitions on your non-metallics. You know, just really working it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the hardest
And I think
things.
that's where people have come back with this true metallics, actually painting the metallics in the way that you described, but using golds and silvers and bronzes and sort of browns and purple wash or whatever in the same way that you would with a flat colour, and getting a much better result with it. So I think it's fashion.
I think that's probably true, right? There's some amount like what's in style.
Mm. Well, interestingly, some of my friends just came back from Adepticon, and they were commenting about the people who were winning awards for well-painted armies there. It's people who are doing a lot of brush painting, whereas 2 or 3 years ago it was people who were using airbrush. Now everybody's using airbrush, and it's like, you shortcut that by using an airbrush. You know, that's like last year's fashion.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I will
Sounds
say,
like
you know,
Parisian catwalks.
Yes. You know, I mentioned it recently that I just got my airbrush, and I will say, I mean, I love it, but it's not to me the replacement for the brush. For me, it's the best way ever to prime. Like, I love that. You get the best prime ever out of an airbrush. Certainly better than like a spray can or anything like that. And then in addition, it's a really nice way. If I've got one main color piece, I can do a nice simple transition on that to start with, and then have that sort of mapped, right, and then go in and glaze over it. So I can really shortcut several steps on sort of the main whatever it is, but then I'm still going in for detail and everything like that. Yep. You know, and glazing over the airbrush work too.
And I think on models, especially like Space Marines or Eldar Guardians, that kind of thing, where they've got lots of quite large, smooth, flowing curves and big shapes on them, I think an airbrush gives you fantastic shading or pre-shading, if you like, on the model in a way that you can't get easily with a brush.
I would agree with that completely. Because if it builds up too thick, it kind of makes it look too chalky to seem like futuristic kind of materials. So you kind of want a nice, even, smooth finish.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where it can certainly be done. And I think, so, you know, Color of the Gods, that thing I referenced during there, like he's a big proponent of brush painting almost exclusively. Like he'll use an airbrush to prime, and then that's basically it. And like he's the one who did that that diorama of the dead Space Marine in the corner with like the skull and the red to purple transitions on it. Have you ever seen this diorama? It won just a metric crap ton of awards a little while back.
I feel like I have.
It sounds like
really familiar. Okay.
And, you know, like if you look at those color transitions, it's amazing. I mean, it is absolutely breathtaking. Now, at the same time, he did it all with brush, but, I mean, you know, it took him a long time to do all that. You know what I mean? Like, settle in, get yourself a Snickers bar, because you're not going anywhere for a while.
Yeah, I can see that. I was just about to say that, too. Like, I just want to try to see the difference, because I've never tried a airbrush, but I have a similar technique to that where I build up with washes. So, I mean, if I wanted to spend 10 hours on one figure to make it look picture perfect, I would realistically be like, okay, this is going to take 10 hours, and I'm going to invest that much. But with an airbrush, I'd just like to see what it does to cut down the time, if anything.
Well, let me say, start off 10 hours. That's a normal model. My knights take about, as I mentioned to John, they probably take 6 to 8 each. I would easily guess that Green Knight took me 20 hours of work.
Oh, I'm just talking about like a normal troop.
Yeah, sure. And then like that thing about the non-metallic metals, in that article when she was talking about that perfect non-metallic metal one that had like the sky earth and all the reflections, that big robot thing, which was stunning. That was like 100+ hours of work. So that's 3 work weeks on that one guy.
Yep.
Like that is some time.
That's not too surprising.
Imagine paying a half decent salary for that as a commission piece.
Oh, it's not even possible. I mean, that's a $10,000 fee.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's just no market. And I think that's one of the problems with commission painting, right? Is that there's a sort of, like, to get real quality, there's almost a market failure where the actual price that you should charge is so high, no one's willing to pay it.
Yeah, very true. And it's hard to get like a standard to sell off of. So they are expecting a certain quality, and they are going to get that quality because you can tell them that it's going to be this quality and you're going to charge this much, but realistically they won't accept the quality until they see it. You know, even if you show pictures as updates, they still won't know what it looks like until they see it in person, and if it fits what they think they should be paying for it.
But it's also an odd profession where the premium for additional talent or additional work drops off, whereas normally the scarcer the skill, the greater the talent, the higher price premium.
Okay.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, you look at the difference between someone writing basic code and someone who can really, really, you know, work in any language and do amazing things with it. So, like, the difference between your just core competency coder and then someone who works at a really high level, the difference in what they make is titanic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and they get rewarded appropriately for that, right?
Right.
Getting it painted by a Jennifer Haley that's taken her 3 weeks worth of work, as you say, won't get her the $10,000 that an hourly rate reward for her talent says it's worth. It'd get her, you know, $1,000, $500 maybe.
Right. Alicia, I know you're like even willing to take the background wine. Do you have an opinion on this? Because obviously this is, you know, it's a big deal for you. This, like, you're certainly heavy in the commission painting space. Have you felt this?
The trick with like the commission painting that I found is it really is how much are people really willing to pay for your just raw talent.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of a hard thing to price. I mean, to price your own skill. I mean, I'm still not entirely sure. Like, I'm still working on it.
Yeah, that's one of the things I was saying, because there's no real baseline that you can say, like, a certain level of quality equals this, because there's no standard to follow by. It's painting, it's like an art, so it's very individualistic.
There is some kind of baseline of the market, because there's, you know, what places like Blue Table Painting charge for what they deliver establishes a baseline, and everybody else is either measurable off that, either more quality, more expense, or the reverse. Everybody's picking their own point on that line.
And that's true. I know that when I first started, we used that kind of pricing guideline as a jumping off point to try and figure out exactly how much it was going to cost. And that's something that I'm still kind of working out. Like, every time I take a job, I see, okay, this is how much I had to spend on paint, how much time it took me to do it, you know, that kind of thing. But
It's
honestly,
still
like,
pretty
right
hard.
now, yeah, it's super hard, because, like, I look at it and I'm like, who's gonna pay money for this? And luckily everybody's been very happy with what they've gotten. So, and I don't offer different levels like other painting services do. I do it too much till I'm happy with it. And usually that's enough for the customer to be happy with it too. Because I'll just model and send it to them before I do everything. So that way, you know, they can tell me, you know, I'd like the color different, or you know, whatever little notes they have for me, I can get and get it fixed beforehand. And then I ship, and then I do, once I get it all done, I send them like more detailed pictures and make sure everything's all hunky-dory. And so far, everybody who's received has been happy. And that's basically my main thing. Is, I mean, I think I worked it out at one point. I think I make I think I make around $2 an hour.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Like maybe $2 an hour.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's true. Do you still have that USB fan plugged in?
Yes.
Unplug it for me, real quick, would you? Can you do that for me?
Okay, I will unplug it. Is that better?
Nope, still doing it. All right, it's not that thing.
All right, maybe it's the mic then.
Yeah, it could very well be the mic.
It sounds like maybe a little electrical interference where something is too close to something else. I'm gonna name the title of this Paintisode. Oh wait, whatever you just did worked.
I turned my painting light off.
Oh, there you go.
Turn it back on real quick. We'll see if it's really that. That's
Yep.
it.
Yep.
That is
Yep.
absolutely what it is. So either it's whining itself or it's too close to something.
It's too close to the mic. How about if I do this? Still hear it?
It's quieter, but yes, I can still hear it.
Okay, it's the mic interfering with the light. Oh man, that's gonna suck. I need a new frickin'. Alright. I need a new mic.
Communication breakdown.
There you go. We've solved the mystery of the wine. There it is.
Brought to you by technical difficulties.
Yes.
Oh, man.
The mystery of the wine had a twist the whole time in that both it was the light and it was me whining about it, you see, so it had a double entendre.
Oh.
I love those.
Then all we need is somebody to crack open a glass of wine and you'd have all the different puns.
There you go. I do love a good pun. So yeah, I mean, I think you're exactly right. I think it's one of those things. Like I have done commission pieces on occasion, and usually I do them. I mean, like when I do them, I honestly I'm like, look, I'll do it, but it's going to be this exorbitant thing I want, or this exorbitant amount of money, because otherwise I don't. You know, I'd rather paint my own stuff. I think it's a rough job. I have nothing but respect for you, Alicia, because the fact that you do paint everything to that quality, and I know you have a completely reasonable rate in the way you go about this, and the level of the work you turn out, I mean, you're swinging way above the market, right? I mean, I think that's the reality of the thing.
Well,
like,
yeah, I was going to say, you kind of have to go a little bit lower on the pay rate, too, in the beginning, just so you can get a fan base. And then once you start getting a fan base, then people will realize what you're capable of and pay more. It's kind of like a raising scale.
Yeah, I mean, I remember Dr. Faust, the Dr. Faust painting clinic, you know, which is truly like my mecca of painting videos. I love that guy. I watch him religiously every video he comes out with, and he has a huge backlog. And I remember he had one of his doc talks about starting a commission painting service, and it broke down to like, don't do it. That was his end point. He was like, just skip it. Don't do that. That's no, you don't want it. And you know, I mean, he can paint fast and slow and all this, and so I was like, Yeah, I mean, you know, there are. He talks about the reasons of why you would want to. You've got to have a real passion for it and love painting, right? Like, I mean, it can't be something that you could even theoretically burn out on, or sort of, if you're really going to be serious about it.
Yeah, the little bit I did, I got immediately burnt out. I did a couple of undead armies and a Warriors of Chaos army, and I had no energy for my own stuff, and I was still doing commissions. It kind of kills the hobby for you.
Yeah, I cannot remember the last model of my own that I painted. No, wait. Okay. No, that's a lie. I can't remember the last model I painted, but it was not for Warhammer. It was for D&D. And I painted the whole party.
The joy in your voice.
Well, because I had to mod my own model, because what my character was wielding, I didn't have a model that a female that was dressed the way I wanted her, wielding the right weapon. So.
What a shock! A lack of a good female mini. I don't believe it. Hey, Paul just tuned in. How you doing, Paul? Paul, if you want to join in, buddy, I'll shoot you an invite too. You're more than welcome to join up. I'll just say that now.
So, I was gonna ask, Alicia, you went to art school as well, right?
Yep.
Did they teach you on self-selling, like how to price yourself?
They taught me how to be an artist, how to think like an artist, but not how to live as one. Sorry.
They pretty much told us you have to add in the time over a little bit of minimum wage, so minimum wage plus expenses onto it, and then the time put into it, so you can actually get an easy, realistic conclusion and a standard calculation. I'm doing a lot of comic book work for people. I got a couple people that are ordering them in, and for me, like one page, I put so much detail in and work into it, like it will take me 20 hours at times, and it's almost, I feel like crap before telling them how much it's going to be when they ask, and it's just like you really realistically have to bite it in the butt if you want anyone to make it worth your while at all. But it also puts an added pressure, like you have to keep up to that consistent value.
You know, there's a commercial for the Art Institute or whatever that runs on the television, where Paul, I sent you the invite to your Hangout, by the way, or to a Hangout. Here, I'll send it to your email as well. So there's a commercial for like the Art Institute where it says like John wanted to succeed in life, so he came to the Art Institute and we helped him. And I was like, by immediately sending him to a real college so he can get a degree that's going to actually pay him for living, because that would be the right direction to send him in there. Art Institutes. No offense to the two art majors in here. I mean, I've got a degree in philosophy, so I certainly have no.
Suffered for their art and relied on a wealthy patron to support them until they were dead, and at which point their work becomes instantly valuable.
Absolutely. I mean, if there's anything, I gotta say that I think Patreon is awesome for just that reason, right? Like, Patreon is the greatest development for recurring artists ever, because for people who want to do comics or little musical things or stuff like that, if you're good enough, you can get the audience and people can set their pay level and stuff like that. It's really a fantastic thing.
I agree with that completely.
Paul, welcome to the party, bud.
Paul!
What are we doing in here?
Painting.
No.
Talking about commission painting.
Oh boy. About being the commissioner.
About that what it would be? Yes.
How Alicia and I are poor.
Commissioner, commissionee, and I'm being stuck on a model on my Pegasus here because I can't figure out what I can't figure out what I want to do with this. What color contrasts this white? I'm stuck, and I don't know what to do with it. I need to let it mull around in my brain. Because, see, he needs to be white so that the bad guy can be black, see, so that... Whoa, that sounded really super racist. Black Knight, White Knight. That is not a racial comment. Good God. I apologize.
First he would insult Juan, and now this.
Yeah, wow. That's not how I meant it. Sorry. I'm simply trying to go for the old Black Knight, White Knight thing. That's all. Nothing. No racial elements to this at all.
And so, have you ever done like a...
No racial stereotypes are harmed in the painting of this model.
Right. Exactly. I mean, look, the bad guy's a demon. Okay. I'm not making any friends here because the bad guy is also primed brown at this moment, so I'm probably even making my case worse. But whatever.
Oh.
Do you make your brown one sit down the back of the box in a separate section?
Absolutely not. They may sit wherever they want.
You have fully integrated packaging, do you?
I do, yes. Fully integrated model storage.
You still got one brown model. This ain't hockey.
I feel like this is just getting worse.
It's getting worse, not better. Yeah, well, welcome to 3:30 in the morning Paintisodes, folks. This is the kind of content you're going to get. So, if you're watching this at 2 in the afternoon at some point in the future, I apologize, but do remember it's 3:30 in the morning here.
No, it's about as far in the future as you can get, and it's 8:30 at night here. So
there you go.
So who commissions?
Alicia is a commission painter.
Mm-hmm.
Hello. Yep, that's me.
Yeah.
We were talking about the... Now, you are actually a commission E on occasion, right, Paul? And I mean, you're obviously a good painter on your own, but we've talked about this last time. Of you have on occasion gone out and had models commission painted.
Yes, indeed.
Now, do you have a set person you work with regularly?
The only people I've gone through are Unlimited Colors, which is a studio in Poland.
Wow. So you ship everything all the way over to Poland, huh?
Correct.
Wow. Whoa. Now, good response from them, in the past or whatever?
Very good. Oddly enough, I'm not trying to bash on anyone in particular, but for some odd reason, the painters in Poland, they have a high density of very phenomenal painters, and for whatever reason, this studio likes to undercut how well they paint. So, point for point, I can't really find a better painting quality for what they charge.
All right. That's pretty high praise.
Yeah.
I mean, to be entirely honest, I mean, it's to the point where I as you guys were kind of alluding to earlier, I don't know how they could possibly make any money.
Yeah, well, I mean, it goes to the whole thing of, like, I know that's a big deal with, like, a lot of the Chinese painting services, too, right? I mean, it's just the way that the dollar translates, it's, it's
but
the economics is pretty in their favor.
Though, because it doesn't cost them that cost in US dollars to live over there.
Right.
It costs them a lot smaller amount to actually live than it would to go there as a tourist, even, or that kind of stuff, which is why that sort of thing works.
Are you talking about China right now? I'm done. I was just trying to figure out.
I think China, Poland, it wouldn't matter, but I think both are going to be in that same situation John's describing.
I mean, maybe. I mean, I don't know. I mean, these guys, you're talking about assembled, painted, finished at $8 a model with 2 or 3 levels of highlighting at least. I don't know.
Okay.
That's that's pretty solid.
Yeah, that is.
really
That's
can't
a
argue with
really
that.
good deal.
And I mean, they pin the models to the bases, like individually drilled each model and pinned them.
So,
Okay. All right.
go ahead, Alicia.
What's up, Alicia?
Oh no, I was just like, okay, so I'm not gonna talk about my own pricing because that's just I'm not gonna do that. I was just like wondering like where the $8 like factored in like with just what you said, and then you said they pinned the models to the base, and I'm like, oh, okay, I can see where that $8 comes in now.
So yeah, so that's literally everything, the whole assemble model and painting deal. So I don't know. Yep.
That's a pretty square deal,
Some of the
really.
people here in New Zealand have sent models to Sri Lanka to get them painted, and we had a few experiences that were good, and then one or two that was a bit harsh.
So it's really hard, right? I mean, it took me a while, especially coming from someone who likes painting and enjoys like a high quality standard. Obviously, these are not painted to any sort of display quality, right? There's no way in God's name I could afford that, but they're to a high enough standard where I appreciate what's on the table, and it's really hard to see, you know, when you're trying to pick a place to make sure that it's going to meet the standard that you think is okay, right? You don't want to pay for something that you could have done in 5 seconds yourself, right? That's why I'm paying it to have it done.
Yeah, we were actually talking about that earlier.
Now, so may I
there's
ask,
even an
was
advantage
there a
in
paint score at Black
painting-
Sheep, Paul?
I'm sorry, what's up?
I said, was
saying,
there a paint
there's-
score at Black Sheep?
Yes, I was.
What was
There's even an
you mind if I
advantage
ask,
in
what was the
painting
paint
getting
score?
an
What
army
did you get?
painted to tabletop quality, and then painting the highlights and additional details on yourself to take it from well-painted base army to excellent.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, Vince. You guys were kind of latency over top of each other a little bit there. You were
Yeah,
asking
no, you're fine.
what score I got at Black Sheep. Are you saying?
Yeah, with your because you took your Skaven there, and they were commission painted, right, by these people, I assume.
So I got max points that you could get, and I finished second place in painting scores behind Ricky Fisher, who won Masters.
Right on.
Gotcha.
Good job, man.
So painting wise, it seems like people appreciate it. I just need to. But again, another weird point of contention. I have this weird internal conflict of whether I keep it totally private that I commission painted or come right out and say it. I would never take a best painted award in a tournament with something I did not paint. I think that is entirely wrong. But the reason why I hesitate to tell people is because some organizers will actually bash the crap out of your score. And I don't care if you take away like bonus points for not painting it or something, but in a tournament setting, I should be able to get max soft score points for something that is painted. It shouldn't matter where it came from.
That's always an interesting argument, I thought. Like, if painting scores should be added into the best overall, and if the commission should be.
So I think they should. I think that there is a social contract, if you will, for a tournament play, that you should be rewarded for bringing a painted army. It shouldn't matter where it came from, because it's really about the enjoyment for your opponent to play against a nicely painted army. I could give less of a...
War Machine tournament, right?
What? A what tournament? I'm sorry.
It'll be a War Machine tournament.
Yeah. It could be, I mean, it's relevant, right? You go to GTs to see beautifully painted armies. Now, whether or not you want to have bonus points or, you know what I mean? Like, so basically what I'm saying is, like, on most GT scales, you know, you have a 0 to 20 or something on that note for painting, and then you can have favorites or above and beyond votes to go up to, like, 25 or something like that. And sure, you can take away those. Like, I don't mind that. You know what I mean? But the base score for general, for your scores for overall, I think should be included.
And you can also use the argument, too. I mean, you do pay quite a bit of money, you know? So it's not like it's just free someone just painted it for you to give it to you to do for free. There's time and effort being put into it in multiple ways.
Well, and so I'm also not gonna name any names or anything, but there's a lot of large gaming clubs who one guy out of the club will paint 4 or 5 armies, and then that club will take those armies to GTs. So even though they didn't commission paint anything, those are not those players' armies, right? I mean,
Right.
Are you going to punish those people the same? And then in the same breath, if I just never told anyone any time whatsoever that I had my Skaven painted, you would never know. How would you know that? You know what I mean? So.
By the way, I want to touch on something here real quick. William Page had left a comment, and he said that he often gets bored partway through models, and then just like kind of just starts working on something else.
I agree.
Shame, shame, William. You got to finish. Enough to do, my friend.
I actually like having like 3 or 4 models going at a time on my desk.
Yeah, that I will go. I'll get with that. That's the right answer. I like that. Yes. Don't totally walk away. Just have the established idea that you're working on 2 or 3 models at once, so that way you can keep all.
Like, I mean, what happens when you you're washing or layering or glazing or something? You gotta wait for that stuff to dry. You gotta go do something else, right?
Yep.
To be efficient.
Yeah, you're right, because if you don't have 3 or 4 armies on the go, you're just not trying hard enough.
And then William also mentioned, he said his other point was, and I want to read this exactly. This is from William. He said, "There's a topic. Why is the Imperium mostly white? Is it a microaggression if we don't paint a percentage of our Imperial Guard models black, Hispanic, or Asian?" And then he said, "What painting technique should be used for those alternate flesh tones?" William, I am not touching that with like a 20-foot pole, my friend. That is a good try, buddy. Not happening. I'm not touching that. No, I mean, of course.
I think Reaper makes an African-American triad, don't they?
They do. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, Reaper does make an African-American triad.
And I've seen people from Polynesian heritage in New Zealand paint their models with Polynesian skin tones and even Maori facial tattoos.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in all honesty, I think it's mostly inertia, right? There is sort of a subtle, there is almost like a subtle racism in the paint tones of like, when I go look, it's like flesh and light flesh and all that. And what they really mean is white people flesh. That's what all those things really say.
And look, I mean, let's stereotype a little bit, but how many people besides white people have you really seen playing this game? I mean,
it is a very white hobby. You go to a GT, it's a lot of crackers. Yeah, that is absolutely true. Which is a shame. It is funny, the lack of diversity in general in the hobby, right? Both across, and it's just, I'm speaking here more in the States. I don't know other places. It could be very different other places. But there's definitely, like here in the States, it's a mainly white male hobby.
You know what I've been trying to get my girlfriend to play, because man, you could take advantage of some of these nerds pretty hard, right? You don't even need to know the rules. You just smile nice and just be like, I think this is the way it is. They'd be like, yep, you're right.
Oh, it's totally true.
Wow, I just play with jerks. If that's the case.
Well, you play with your husband. He isn't going to be so influenced by your charms as a random nerd, right?
Yeah.
Oh, you'd be surprised, but no, not as far as games go. I can get him to roll over backwards for most anything else, but not gaming.
I always thought the idea, because I got my fiance to play with me, and we did. She did Demons of Chaos with me for a while. We played games, but it's one of those things that the idea sounds better than it actually is at times, because you don't really gain much from winning or losing against your fiance.
Yeah.
It's like those Aliens vs Predator movies, right? Whoever
no matter who wins, you lose.
What? I need to hear the explanation of that. What?
The tagline is, no matter who wins, we lose.
Exactly.
And by the way, that tagline is BS. because no, if the predators win, we're fine. There's like 4 predators. They're not going to conquer the world. If the aliens win, we all die. It's the stupidest tagline ever. Obviously, we want the freaking predators to win.
And the premise of Alien versus Predators was totally fine with the tagline.
Yeah, the premise works for me. Totally, I got it. That's cool. But the tagline, that I can't handle. I cannot abide. You got it. That is what I am saying. Yes.
That's great.
Well, the tagline couldn't be cheer for the predator so you don't all die, because then everybody would know, that's the guy you want to win.
Yeah, that's the guy I
Some
want to
kind of
win.
conflict.
I want the sweet hunter that's just going to go randomly kill either Arnold Schwarzenegger or Danny Glover, but
you
not
can't kill
me.
Arnold.
Attempt to kill. Yes.
How did you go from Arnold Schwarzenegger to Danny Glover, too? Who wrote these damn movies?
I don't know. Danny Glover was pretty badass in Lethal Weapon. I can't say it with a straight face. I'm sorry.
Well, who was that other guy in the Predators movie? Adrian Brody or somebody?
Oh, yeah,
in the
yeah.
remake, yeah, Adrian Brody, yeah. Because when I think Adrian Brody, I think action star. From the guy who brought us the Brothers Bloom.
And the pianist.
Yes.
I saw that the PMP.
Okay, it is late, because that sounded like something else.
Yeah, it did.
World War II played piano. Just
The person
go
who
there.
plays piano.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you're supposed to say. That's late.
But back to the topic, I have. So if I could actually rate like the things that I would like to do in my life, and having my wife play this hobby with me is somewhere down by having a weekly colonoscopy, or eating live spiders, or anything else like that. No.
Protein.
Sure, yes, absolutely. No, I don't. I have had one good game, or I'm sorry, that is the wrong word. I have had one gaming experience in my life with a significant other, and that gaming experience taught me that that is dumb, and I am going to keep those 2 aspects of my life separate. And I will be happy because of it. I will also say married because of it, which I like, because I like my wife and I like being married. But if we played Warhammer together, that would all go away.
You think it's like being trapped in the car on a very hot day in a traffic jam?
I think it's like trying to program the VCR together, like to make an old reference. You just don't do it. Like, I don't put up Christmas decorations with my wife, okay? Because that's just a recipe for disaster. Like, both of us have strong personalities, and when we get together, she wants things in a certain way, and I'm fine with that, but I'm not going to do it right by default. And she's going to have to direct me, and I'm going to get frustrated, and in 10 minutes, what should be a simple collaborative task is going to turn into a nuclear meltdown somewhere on the scale of 3 Mile Island. And I've learned, it's just not, let's just not do it. Let's just not do it.
That sounds like the tagline from Heart to Heart, and then they met. It was murder.
We are dropping some references today, heart to heart. Like seriously, 3 people who watch this will get that reference. Okay, you might as well reference like Surfside 6.
Surfside 6.
Who lives there? Yeah.
Surfside 6.
Oh, I can't keep doing it. I'm gonna laugh too hard.
You see, honey, even Vince from halfway around the world says it's akin to a nuclear disaster to try and put up Christmas decorations together.
There you go. Has she been trying to get you to help her? Yes, I gave up. The first time we tried to put up a Christmas tree and it almost ended in a divorce, I was like, I feel like we're ruining and not really living in the spirit of the holiday here. So you just take these, I'll get them all out and I'll put them all away, but you can put them all up. And whatever you decide to do with them is fine with me. So there you go. And that was that. And that has worked well ever since. And it's funny, too, because when I worked at, I used to work for CompUSA, if anybody remembers that place, when that thing existed. And I would actually put up all the Christmas decorations for the whole store and then come home and have my wife put up the Christmas decorations just for the house.
Well, that's right. Well, you don't do the work you get paid to do at work and then come home to do it at home, right?
I don't know. Like, most of my professional and private life overlaps quite a bit, actually. In that, like, what I do in my professional life and then what I do for fun in my private professional life is nearly the same task. When I worked at CompUSA, there was a time when I was a salesman and I sold computers. Okay, not a weird thing to do at a retail store. And I would then come home and play Star Wars Galaxies, if anybody remembers that MMO or played that MMO. But yeah, I would come home and play Star Wars Galaxies, and I played a droid merchant. So I would literally come home and spend all of my free hours making and selling computers.
Oh, why did you do that to yourself?
Because making robots is sweet, yo. Who doesn't want to make robots?
That's a fair response. Oh,
I had a nice big fat guy. Like, I had a big fat dude who wore a leather jacket and a gold chain. He was bald with a comb over, and his name was Big Ron Manley. Big Ron's Big Bots sold robots all across the galaxy. I'm hoping that he shows up in the next Star Wars movie. I really think that he'd be a great character.
Oh.
What was that, John?
You were Watto before they were.
That's right. Yeah, there you go. Yes, only not like with a superpower that's completely inexplicable. Yes.
Well, at least you weren't Jar Jar Binks at work.
That's a good point. Has anybody, have you all watched the Red Letter Media Star Wars review? Have you all watched that? It's like a 70-minute review. It's a movie in and of its own right.
No, I haven't.
Well, let me tell you what. Is anyone here a fan of Episode 1?
In comparison to Episode 2 and 3?
No, just period. Like, does anybody like The Phantom Menace?
No.
Okay, good, because if you did, I was going to tell you to get the hell out of this Paintisode. And we're not friends anymore. But if you don't like it, yes, Red Letter Media, it's a fantastic site, and they have the guy who runs the thing, he has a character named Mr. Plinkett. It's not really him, but it's sort of his character. And he has a 70-minute long Star Wars review of Episode 1. It is the best critical deconstruction I have ever seen. It's a movie in and of its own right, and he's taken it to film festivals and won stuff. Highly recommend it if you don't like that movie and would love to see it destroyed in a wonderful fashion. This is the review for you. There you go. Check it out.
Awesome. Well, on that note, I'm going to go to bed because I have a 7-month-old that's going to be up in like 5 hours.
Sounds good. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
Alright. Later, guys. Have fun.
Later on.
Bye, Alicia.
Bye-bye.
Alicia, I'll miss you. I will not miss the whining noise that accompanied your presence.
Wouldn't that suck if it was just like some ambient
now.
noise?
Does that mean we're now racist and sexist?
Yeah.
If hating allowed, because you're saying I'm talking about her voice.
Huh.
Sorry, it took me a minute on that one. No, like that whatever her light is or something is just causing ridiculous interference. And what's funny is I didn't hear it at all during like the PMP end of month review, but then we started this and just it was in the background like the whole time, and I even heard it come back there at the end. She must have like scooted her light just a little closer, just close enough.
Yeah, I think I heard that going on in the background. I just kind of assumed it was. I don't know why I ignored that.
Alright, talking about horrible things, why the hell is GW paint like syrup?
Because why are you using a Citadel paint? You have a wall of better paints behind you. Why would you ever open a GW paint pot?
Because my life is about how impatient I am, and I needed turquoise. And I could order turquoise or mix my own turquoise, but that would mean that I have to do those things.
And you happen to have a GW turquoise?
Well, I happen to have a shop downtown. Like
That sounds like premeditated Citadel paint there.
Oh my God! You left your house and bought it when you could have ordered a turquoise on Amazon.
No,
It would have been there tomorrow.
I was craving Thai food, which is near the place, in which after I was full and happy, I decided it would be a good idea to go buy Citadel paint.
You'd get better results smearing the Thai food on your model than using that stuff, wouldn't you?
I believe so, yeah.
Honestly, a papaya salad covered goblin sounds great. Probably edible too.
I mean, would you have to put sealant on it so it didn't smell, or is the smell part of the ambiance?
It's a goblin. Nobody would tell the difference. They would think it was authentic.
I'm
true. Very true.
living shit out of this paint. Like, it's seriously coming out of this pot and it's just like glopping out.
Is it a base or a layer?
What the hell is it? A layer? I don't know.
Layer of paint. Well, so like a base is supposed to be like the old foundation paints. Layer is supposed to be like pre-thinned, so you don't have to thin it much. That's also a pre-lie, but
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Breathe in my ass.
well, as usual, the consistency of the different models is just completely random, right? I mean, sometimes you get it and it's you know, a pretty thin mix, and sometimes you get it and it is ridiculously thick. I mean, it's whatever. Like GW paints to me represent shades and the technical paints. Those are the useful things they make.
Those are great. I love those.
Their shades are actually really good.
Mm-hmm.
Like the washes, like I don't.
Yeah.
I get it.
What paints have you got in the background there, Vince?
That is the Game Air range, which is the best paint I've ever owned. It was worth every single penny. I bought the whole set, and it's so good. It's an amazing paint range. The colors are beautiful. They're vibrant. I work in very thin paints, and honestly, even these, I barely have to. I'll generally maybe put 1 drop of glaze medium in every so often, but I can often take it straight out of the pot, or well, out of the dropper, whatever.
Yeah.
Game Air is amazing.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
And,
How much
and
was
Paul,
that?
Shares in Vallejo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. What did you say? Do I have shares in Vallejo?
No, Paul looks like he's got shares in Vallejo.
Oh yeah. He's got some Reaper behind him too there.
I have a full Reaper. No, first half of the Reaper set. I have some secret weapon washes. Some Reaper, the special edition Reaper, some Game Air. Then I also have a full set of Minotaur paints, the Badger
Okay.
ones.
So, and how's that stuck on the wall? Are they like on magnets?
Yeah.
You magnetize the back of the paint pot and then magnetize that onto the wall.
Back in just a moment.
Just a magnet on the back there.
Oh, yeah.
Magnet strip. Sticks right back up.
Oh, yeah. And you look like you got a few red bottle-topped army painter.
You broke up there.
You got some army painter ones with the red tops on? some strong tone and.
Yep. Yep.
I was telling Alicia about people calling that liquid talent, and
Oh no.
Yes, I love his paint storage technique there. I think that's pretty awesome. I went for the old favorite of the lipstick or nail polish stand, whatever that is. Oh my god. You can get them off of Amazon quite cheap.
Sorry, I'm responding to something real quick. Got some ink on my keyboard.
Nice. But yes, I highly stand behind the Game Airline. It's like really, if you can pick it up, it is very worth it.
I think I may have been looking at those on eBay. How much was the pack that you got? One I was looking at, I think, was like $89.
The full range of Game Airs, you can get it from Scale Hobbyist for $190.
Okay.
Comes with what, 80 paint?
Yeah, something like 80, as well as all your airbrush stuff. Like it comes with your airbrush thinner and a little airbrush cleaner and stuff like that.
I'm so low on paints. Literally, I'm down to my GW like old style paints where it has the turn cap and like ghostly gray, and I have like a blue ink and stuff from 6th edition. So I'm trying to save up for a nice paint set so I can get a good investment.
Well, let me tell you, the Game Air, if you end up deciding you really want to make an investment, I mean, it's no small amount of change. I mean, obviously, but that being said, it's I think it's a pretty worth it paint range for sure.
Honestly, if you can swing it, buying the whole range is almost always better of probably anything you want to buy.
Yep.
I can understand that.
Yeah, I thought about picking up like the Model Air set too, just to have, because I mean it's also pretty solid, and just to have, because there's some like there are some holes in the Game Air range that I have. I mean, I have it in model color, but then if I want to airbrush it, it's kind of a pain.
Yeah, I really like all the earthy tones from the Model Air range. It's pretty nice.
Yeah. Like this color right here, which is one of my favorite colors, period, which is model color deep green. This is your go-to warpstone, you know, sort of base color, and it's just this fantastic, rich, bright green. And shockingly, there's nothing like this in the Game Air range. You'd think this would be exactly the sort of thing you'd see in Game Air, but it's not. They don't. Like, my problem is Goblin Green and Sick Green are a little too close to each other. I don't know why they didn't make one of them more like this.
Yeah, Goblin Green's pretty bright there.
I would have thought there would have been plenty of dark green, look-off camouflage green and stuff, historical colours in the airbrush range.
Yeah, that's
in the Model Air.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. That's part of the issue, is that it's honestly a pretty bright green you would expect to see in the Game Air, but I'm pulling it out of the regular model color line, and which is fine. It's just like I don't mind model color stuff for brush painting. Like it's fine. I have, you know, just thin it out with a little glazed medium and a little water, and you're good to go. But at the same time, it's like if I can have the Game Air instead, where it's just, you know, go, then I'd prefer that. But yeah, that Game Air range, definitely very, very worth it. That is what I will say.
How'd you come across those, anyways?
I saw a couple mentions of it, and I had been wanting to get an airbrush, and so somebody had mentioned it, so I went online and watched all the reviews of it, and I think everybody who saw it or who reviewed it was just like, "This is the most amazing paint set I've ever had. It's fantastic. It's It's life-changing. I had a religious experience. It cured my cancer when I opened it up, like all that kind of thing. And so I was like, well, I should probably look into this.
Can't argue with that.
Yeah. So it's pretty stellar reviews.
I think it says on the bottle, cures glioblastoma.
Yeah, absolutely. If you've got a problem, it'll solve it. So I mean, that's really what's nice. The white color is just actually called vanilla ice, so that's pretty good. No, actually, it's just dead white.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think he was in Des Moines at one point, and he was rapping in an alleyway in Des Moines, which is just kind of sad. I mean, if you have to rap in an alleyway in Des Moines, that's pretty low.
Well, he's not a rapper anymore. Like, that dude's real successful again. He's got a whole new career.
Oh, is he bad? What's he doing now?
He flips houses. He's a contractor.
Oh, okay. That was like 12 years ago.
Yeah, he has a show on like TLC or something where he goes in and restores like $1 million houses and flips them for lots of money. And it's pretty funny how he got into it. He got into it because he was like spent all his money on big houses and then didn't have money anymore and was like, oh crap, now I've got all these extra houses. But he had been like a subcontractor previously before he became a rapper, and so he was like, well, let me just fix up all these houses that I've got and sell them. And he did that and sold them all and made a ton of money, and he was like, oh, well, I guess maybe I should do this. And so that's what he's been doing. He also had a show where he went into Amish country and worked with like Amish craftsmen to do it, which that was pretty cool. It was a good show.
Nothing like the Amish.
Absolutely.
So Vince, have you picked your model for our challenge?
I have not yet. No, I wanted to get this guy done before I pick the model, because this fig is. I need my Lord on peg, because basically I've got the army pretty much ready to go, but I want my Lord on Pegasus. So I'm going all the way with this Lord on peg model. He's going to be the most ridiculous Pegasus Knight basing I've done so far.
Well, if you're mounting him on a Pegasus and you don't have his heraldic symbol, shouldn't you pick one involving circles and crosses and paint that onto his surcoat?
I tell you right now, John, I don't like putting crosses onto my models and onto my Brettonians in general. Just because like it
attracts
like
cannons.
It's sure, yes. Well, Pegasus Lords attract cannons. It just feels too like real world Christian iconography, like, which is funny because like I don't mind the fleur de lis, which I use all the time, which is obviously also a pretty real world symbol, but there's just some, but it feels like a fairly more neutral symbol to me. Where when I have the cross, it's like these guys aren't Christians; they worship a bunch of They worship a bunch of, well, technically they worship an elf, I guess, if you want to be really exact, but, whatever.
So you're not inspired to paint some people in the Templar color scheme behind you?
No, I really don't like the Templar color scheme, and that's just it. Like, that's why I've got the Lord, and I want white to be like his main color, and I'm trying to figure out what to contrast it with to be sort of his design color. And yeah, I could go with red. I mean, red and white obviously work pretty well together. But the issue is if I do that, then it's like it's instantly Templar, right? There's just, once you see that red and white together, it's just like, oh, Templar Knight immediately. I
kind of always felt like a theme. I was making a Crusader army with my Vikings and everything, with some fluff, and I kind of went with a purple and white theme, because purple's very royal seeming and white has that clean look to it, so I could see someone of royalty having that kind of look.
Yeah, purple is honestly, it's funny you say that, because that's honestly where I'm leaning right now. I'm just trying to think on the design. My favorite single knight model that anybody ever painted was done in purple and white, and just with an amazing amount of freehand and such, and so I've been thinking about trying my hand at that kind of a design.
Go for it. I'd love to see that.
Well, you painted your Errant Knight unit in all white and blue, didn't you, Vince?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, that is my only like. That's the only unit I will have where, well, I mean, of knight. Obviously, my peasants are all, you know, similarly dressed. Of where all the knights look the same.
Yeah.
And that's because, like, when it comes to Brettonian fluff, I stick to one and only one book, and that is the one true Brettonian book, which is this one right here. This is the lore of Brettonian. Okay? Like, I may not be using this to pick my models for points cost, but this is Brettonian. Forget all that nonsense in the...
Is that the original copy still scribed on stone tablets?
More or less, yeah. This is like this is the 5th edition book. And this is where it's at right here. This is Brettonian. Okay? Forget what you heard. This is the real deal. Like, the Knight Errant, like, the way they talk about it, this is the chivalrous, you know, upstanding nation of virtue and honor. Like, the way that the knights, the way you become a knight is by anybody in town, just some random person in town, decides that they want to become a knight, and they seek out a heroic task to undertake to protect their village and prove themselves worthy of the blessing and favor of the lady, you know? So
if you did your Errant Knight unit in blue and white, because that was homage to their lord's household, doesn't that therefore imply that the lord's colours should primarily be blue and white as well?
The lord is in their unit. Like, it's the paladin up front. If you look at the front of the unit, he's their lord. So, like, this guy would be the, you know, the lord of the whole army. So he has to have. I gotta take him to the next level. He's got to be sort of a go all out guy.
Yeah.
The problem is
kind of a random thought, Vince. But if you thought about getting away from standard bright colors and going towards a more tunic, earthy type, you know, tan or bone type color, doing some nice freehand with that, it might actually contrast pretty well with the bright colors you have in the rest of the unit. Work pretty well.
Putting a white on yellow type scheme tends to break several heraldic rules, but it's fantasy, so you go with the rule of cool rather than anything authentic, right?
True. Yeah, I mean, so the thing with the bone, like, I don't mind an earthy tone knight at all. In fact, I originally was thinking about doing the Lord in, like, a black scheme with a sort of red lava vine type thing on him. I saw a knight online that I really loved that had that scheme. The problem was then it would be both the good guy and the bad guy are in the same color scheme. And I really want to create, like, a, you know, I want the composition of the piece to be a real contrast. I could do an ivory or something, you know, for the tunic or the barding on the Pegasus, certainly, and his personal clothing. That could be possible to take it not into like a pure white, but to take it into a more somewhere leaning more toward the bonish, you know, color.
I'm saying, kind of maybe like a cream.
Yeah, creamy color, exactly. Maybe the next step down from actual ivory, right, which is like pale sand, something like that. I think is probably more what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do love the pale sand and ivory.
That's actually quite clever because you could do the Lord as white and cream, and the bad guy as black and cream, and then it's like a mirror image of each other, or it's a choice thing that happened in their life that meant one went one way and went well, and the other went one way and descended into bad.
So, say again what you're thinking there. I'm interested. So, good guy goes, he's cream, and you said like black, and then black and invert it. Is that what you're proposing?
Well, I was thinking if they both started out with if you both had like white and cream for the Lord, and because he's got more pure and more heroic and more good as he's gone on, and the other guy is cream and black, representing the sort of staining of his spirit as each bad deed gets reflected in his heraldic colours. You know, and then you have the sort of the.
I'm with that. I like that. William Page chimed in and said he votes white, green, orange. I'll give the old veto to that one. That's you're the master of using orange and green there, William. I'll leave that one to you.
Ninja Turtle.
Well, you'd have to be very careful not to look like an Indian flag at that point.
That's a good point. Yeah, it would come off like that. That is that color scheme, isn't it? But yeah, it's I know what I want the bad guy to be, so I think I'm trying to figure out where I tie their color schemes together, and I think that's you got some good stuff there. We'll work our way through it. I don't like not having a clear image of the model in my head when I start, but you know, sometimes you got to feel your way through a model instead of going all to plan.
Sorry about that.
Hey, welcome back.
You're right, though. That's one of the things I found hard with starting to paint Infinity models is you just don't have the same feel for what's their color scheme going to look like as I do with a Warhammer Fantasy model.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did my hackies in all like army tone kind of green and off white. So that was my color scheme for them. Yep. Exempting my assassin, who is like jet black with his little like the energy things going over his still suit being like a very bright green.
So, as I was getting up, I tried to find my old Brettonian book, but I came across something just as rare.
Oh, yeah, nice. Sure.
Back in the day when I played Brettonian, I'm like, oh, what else team up with Brettonian? This is fun. I can basically have archers that shoot longer range.
Here's the question. Did that book still have Wood Elf chariots in it?
Yeah.
Okay. There you go.
And that Brettonian book, I don't remember cannons being in it, but everyone told me that the old Brettonians had cannons.
You got to go back before that book. That's
when
like
all the
the
armies were in the orange rule book. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, when they were part of the base rule book.
Okay.
When there was no army books, effectively.
No, I remember there being a separate army book that went alongside that when the rule book was a single hardback book with orange around the top of it.
Was there? It's pre my time. I started basically in 4th edition.
Yeah, well, they had the book that came out was called Warhammer Armies, and it's interesting because you know what goes round is in a circle because they're talking about. I went to play with a group of my friends, and he said, "Oh yeah, here's an orc army, but there's not actually any orcs in it because I'm just using other models from my collection." And they said, "Actually, if you want to have an orc army, then it needs to like contain actual orcs." And now GW seem to be going back to, just use whatever models you have in your collection, however you like, for playing with your friends. We're not going to tell you what models you can and cannot use.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that, to be honest. I could see good sides of it for just like personal gaming, but I mean, I definitely see the negatives of it too.
I think the difference is mainly between tournament and we kind of talked about this before, but I think the difference for me is between tournament and basement gaming, and the dividing line to me is that thing recognizable as the thing you're talking about?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So like that spider squig herd that that my buddy Tom put together, when I look at that, I go, and he says, "This is my squig herd." I go, "Yeah, I get it. It's a bunch of individual spiders. You got goblins in the back with pokey sticks that look like herders pushing them along. Like, okay, that all checks out in my brain. I can get it." If he just like put a giant horde of goblins on the table and was like, half of these are squigs, I'd be like, nah. Or if he put a bunch of Empire halberdiers on the table,
That makes sense. Got it.
Go ahead, man.
Well, one of the first GW ever tournaments was won by a High Elf army, and back then High Elves could take effectively a dragon ridden by a unit champion as troops. So this person built a themed everybody rides on a dragon army, and they basically flew backwards and forwards over the table and napalmed everybody from orbit. It was horrible. And that led to the first GW tournament arms limitation treaties, which we now know as comp.
It should also be stated that if that was happening in that time period, that's probably when Fly High existed. We mentioned this in the last Paintisode. Here it comes again. Old Flying High.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember that.
Minus 20 inches to your range and all this kind of thing.
Oh, Flying High. You were the worst.
Well, Skaven hated it because the only thing that could actually hit something flying high were Jezzails, and they used to be the first target for napalming. So once that was there was no reason for the dragons to ever land on the ground. Yep. It wasn't like they could only breathe once, like they can now.
Right. I hated it because it meant that a Bloodthirster had just gone up in the air, and next round he was going to be on the line ready, or he was going to be charging me from way up in the air, and that was going to mean the end of my army, top of 2. Like the only hope to win was to go before to win the first turn and hit that Bloodthirster with a cannonball and kill him.
Were you playing with the demonic law and the illusory law and that kind of thing?
I do not. Well, I was playing Empire at the time, and honestly, John, I was so that was so nub and stuff. I don't think I had a wizard in my army in the time period. I really don't. I don't think I ever took wizards.
That's back when they had the cards, right?
Yeah.
Like you had to buy the separate kit. That was so confusing.
No. Whole generations before you stopped the middle of every turn to have a quick game of cards.
Okay.
Back then, you randomly dice for your spells out of laws, a bit like you do now, but the top end demon spells involved things like summon greater demon. So you could summon a greater demon, which was also a level 4 wizard with demonic spells, which would therefore no summon greater demon.
Seems like it's going to go nowhere good.
Yeah.
If you think geometric progressions of summoning greater demons onto the table is fun, then yeah, it was fab. If you then yeah, it was an arms race you didn't want to go to. And if you guys think that the characteristic vortex test spells are bad, there was a thing called Vorpal Hurricane of Chaos, which was like a small 2-inch diameter template that used to shoot across the table and kill every model it touched. And you could buy these spells which automatically cast out of magic rings. So you'd load up on those things, rock your characters forwards, and then everybody would cut loose with a barrage of these Vorpal hurricanes which rolled randomly around the table all over the place while everybody ran away from them.
Basically, in comparison, honestly, the rules have evolved to be so much better. It's so much more of a cohesive game than it used to be.
Well, it's a game that doesn't require lengthy negotiations between playing parties in order to have a game about what was going to be usable and what was not going to be usable. And if you're playing with you and half a dozen mates in your basement gaming group, then you have that discussion once, you agree what's fun, and you evolve it slowly over time as people get a few more toys. But that doesn't work when you kind of move across the country and go to a national tournament or something and find out that, oh, they play it completely differently to what you do. And if you want to have a game which supports that, somebody's got to have that conversation on behalf of the community attending.
Yeah, I will say it also didn't work as well when you hung out with people who thought it was perfectly reasonable to have bloodthirsters every single game. And boy, are they were not then like they are now. Like, I don't know if they had a stat that wasn't a 10 in the time period we were playing. It was just like, hey, why not? 10s across the board, knock it out.
They were pretty horrifying. I remember that.
Yeah.
That was also in a time period where obviously 6s didn't wound everything, right? So I mean, you got that going on too. Like, there was but a few things in the game actually capable of wounding these monstrosities.
Skates were pretty nice when they started coming out and getting those poisonous shots. I remember my brother just started spamming those to get rid of most things. It was like a whole new revolution. Like, oh, double shots and 6s automatically wound. What the hell is this?
Yeah, but I mean, poison was different then too, because like when they first introduced poison didn't work on undead and stuff like that, if I remember right.
Yeah, it didn't work on undead.
Didn't work on undead and demons and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't. Okay, didn't know about the demons part. I'm learning about the old rules still. I was like 6 when I played it, so you know that probably translates a lot.
But yeah, like playing as I did back in the day and playing now, I have very little patience for people who talk about the unbalanced nature of the game or something. It's like, no, this game is in the most balanced state it has ever been by about a country mile.
No, I definitely agree with that. And aside from some maybe minor tune-ups to the rules, I think 8th edition is probably one of the best tournament and friendly game sets of rules Warhammer's ever had.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun with it.
You know, it's funny to me. I think that there's you know, so watching. And John, I know you still watch, you know, Malorian as well, because I see you commenting on his stuff and, you know, sending him questions and stuff. And, you know, the one thing that from watching his War Machine bids that they do that I really love, that would be much harder to institute in Warhammer just based on the nature of the size of the game. And I understand the complexities of it, but that doesn't change my love of the concept. And that is the multi-list nature of War Machine. Right, yeah. where you go to the tournament and you have a couple lists. I love that idea. It's almost impossible to execute in Warhammer where you've got massive armies and all this kind of stuff, but I still love the concept.
I've played tournaments where we've had sideboards, and say you have a 2,400 point fantasy tournament, you say, here's 1,800 points of core army, and you can pick one of 3 600-point sideboards based on the nature of the opponent that you're facing?
That is a great question of why has the idea of sideboard, like that's really interesting. I have never heard of sideboarding before in Warhammer, but of course, like I mean, I've played competitive Magic for many years, since 1994, and you know, obviously in that, the sideboard is like, you know, it's just part and parcel of the game, right? And I'm shocked that that hasn't been more widely used, because that does seem like a thing you could honestly do. And it would be fascinating to be able to sideboard out 10%, 20%, whatever the nature is of your army with different units.
That'd be awesome. I like that. Yeah. I've never even thought
then you could take some anti-skaven tech in one of the in one of the sideboards that you take. You could take some anti-armor tech, this kind of thing, to help nullify the skew. And if you don't have the extra models to do it, just take one sideboard.
Well, it also brings out some of the fluffy things that it's never taken, right? Because I can take the Skaven Pelt Banner or something, you know, something that gives me hatred against Skaven, or something that gives me hatred against dwarves, that weird junk. Like, you can take that stuff and it might show up and actually make a difference in the game and be kind of cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Because there are all sorts of items like that still floating around. But I mean, when are you ever going to realistically take them, right? Because in so many of your matches, they're just going to be empty choices. So like they're never used in any kind of like pseudo-competitive setting. But yeah, I'd take like, you know, the Dwarf Gouger or whatever out of the Skaven book if you know, in a sideboard, sure.
Well, there's what is it? There's the Helm of the Skaven Slayer. That Empire can they still take that?
I have no idea. I don't play Empire anymore, so I have no idea on their current item availability or allotments.
I think that's still an item.
But yeah, I love the idea. Man, all right. There you go. That's a solution. Why is that not a thing?
Yeah, that's a mind blow right there.
Well, I mean, for example, if you engineered your list right, you could stick your level 4 Lord Wizard into your sideboard and use level 4 Wizard in 2 different sideboards with 2 different laws to give you more law flexibility. Or if you were going to play dwarfs or somebody with no magic capability, you could take a list without a level 4 because it's dwarfs. You spend all this money on anti-tech. Haha, fool you, I'm not going to cast any magic.
Or get rid of that level 2 scroll caddy.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you
that is very interesting.
Little stunties.
I like the dwarves. I think I am the only one
It doesn't matter.
I like dwarfs too. I think they make fantastic slaves. They're great with their hands. They're really strong, and they're perfect for pulling your cauldron of cane. I find it awful watching dwarf battle reports because they always die, and you just think, oh, there's millions of credits of valuable livestock getting slaughtered. Would you stop it?
That's a waste of good labor.
That's it. Absolute fortune.
Oh, man. I feel like they'd be kind of they'd be lazy. They wouldn't want to do anything. They're stubborn as hell, man.
I think they'd adjust over time. Their love of hard work would
Beastmaster can
overwhelm
break the will of a manticore, you can break the will of a dwarf.
If you can break the will of a manticore, you can break the will of a dwarf. Yeah. So, Paul, we haven't heard from you for a while. You were saying something there. You got lost in translation.
Did I hate dwarves?
Besides that, it was before the dwarves. Before the dwarves.
I'm getting tired. I'm old. I'm not like Vince. Vince is young and vibrant.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, young and vibrant. That's me. No, Vince is
past midnight here. I don't even know where I am anymore.
I am just, shall we say, highly goal-driven. That's my strength here.
I'm over here trying to paint me some turquoise.
I could see this big bright light coming from Paul's box, and I thought it was the sun coming up in your time zone.
No, that's my daylight bulb.
Those are nice.
Gay light bulb. You got to be able to see the colors properly.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, I got one of those. And my negative ion generator for stress reduction.
Is this helpful? Is this better? Is it better for you?
Yeah, that's great. Yes.
That does not help everyone, Paul. Come on.
For you? You like this?
We'll do the Nick from Long Island Wargaming one where he has it like this. And it's like, you will be answer my questions and be interrogated.
He does have that sometimes, doesn't he?
Well, I was pretty sure that Naren Zaid was a prisoner of Auschwitz for a little while.
Yeah.
As I have commented on Naren Zaid's things many times, I don't think he's in a prison camp. He is broadcasting live from the set of Saw. I'm convinced he was the inspiration for the Saw movies, and that if he panned, the reason the camera is always like locked right on him when he's in that basement is because if you panned over just a few feet in any direction, you would just see corpses, just people chained to the walls, being bled out, just suffering. Like, he is in a murder basement. That is what is going on there. People are dying. Right off camera.
That's the only way you can win like 3 GTs in a row, right? Sacrifices?
Sacrifices. You got it. You know, I love his battle reports. One, I've joked with him a couple of times of like, you're the master of the 6-picture battle report. He took some more pictures for this last time, so that's good. Good on you, Naren. But I love his attitude when he's doing these battle reports, because he's like, so I hit the guy with the warp lighting cannon and he failed to save, so I got 6 wounds there and he died. That was really good.
That's really funny. His half his army broke off the board, and I won the game by at least 4,000 victory points. So that was all right. I mean, it was a decent day. So I'll take that. But I'll catch you on the next one.
But he has the same attitude about negative stuff, because like he's like, so I was watching the one from today, and he's like, so my rat pack didn't rally, and it went through my gutter runners and panicked them, and then both of them promptly ran off the board. So that wasn't great. You know, just
it's like
made me very sad. I was very sad.
Vanished against the ogre player, and he's going, drat, that wasn't quite according to the script. So you're right. He does take his lumps with as much sanguineness as he takes his victories.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I had yes, his sort of, that's a great one. The sort of lack of reaction to that storm vermin. I would have been like, dear God, my whole center just collapsed. And he's like, yep, so that wasn't great. And so now I'm going to go ahead and do this. And it's like, wow, you're pretty laid back about the death of your main combat block.
Yeah, I remember the first time me and Nick talked to him and interviewed him about winning the GT with the Pony Army. He was pretty much the same way then, too. He would just be like, well, I had this matchup, and then this happened, and I won. That was pretty cool. I wish I could have his kind of just demeanor.
Do you guys remember, I think the best contrast I had was, do you guys remember right after he won that Pony Army, Ant from the Sustainable Center, tried to take the list to a tour?
Yes.
Yes.
So good.
I don't fucking get it. This list is bullshit. It's fucking ridiculous. And he's just tweeting out. And I just imagine Aaron on the side going, yeah, it worked kind of okay for me, so it was pretty good.
And afterwards, Niren's trying to explain to how he just wins with it, and Anthony just can't get it. And Niren's going, yeah, but I just fly around and just do stuff and they die.
That is a pretty accurate description, yes.
Alright, guys. I'm out.
Reach the end. Good night, Paul.
I gotta go do some other hobbying in the morning, so.
Did you get anything done?
I base painted the turquoise on Gorak's shield.
He got done wasting $5 at a Games Workshop store or whatever on some turquoise paint.
Hey man, I spent $8. So you shortchanged me.
Yeah, come on now.
Because I had to buy 2 pots.
Good God.
Come on, you spent $8 on the papaya salad.
And the papaya salad was $6 and it was effing delicious.
No, there was the turquoise paint you ate.
What's up?
It gets confusing sometimes. Papaya salad, turquoise, you know.
That's
Which one do I...
decision. I would give up Warhammer for papaya salad.
Well, thankfully, I don't think anybody's gonna ever make you make that decision. That would be the weirdest kidnapping and ransom sort of situation ever.
You'll stop playing with toy soldiers, or you will stop eating papaya salad. I'm like, no!
What do you gain out of this?
Yeah, you were the weirdest kidnapper ever. What could this possibly happen? Why?
I think I like this character we just invented.
I wake up in Naren's basement, and that's
yeah, that's what he's gonna do. He's down there.
Yeah.
Making people make the ultimate choice: papaya salad or Warhammer. You decide.
But I got 2 games in the night event, so I got 2 battle reports coming up. So
nice, awesome. Fantastic. I mean, it worked out probably better because I don't know if you saw, but like our PMP review ended up going really long tonight. So I mean, it was like 3 hours long. So I wouldn't have been good to go at the 11 o'clock that we had originally talked about anyway. So I was happy that we got that going.
Did you just have a crazy amount of submissions, or?
Well, we're trying some new formats, and so we went in much more in depth on everything and like actually critiqued all the pieces. As opposed to just like, I mean, my problem with it is like I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, of course, but at the same time, I don't just want to like show the model and just be like, yeah, that's great, yeah, that's great, yeah, that's great, yeah, that's great, and just have that be the repeating statement for 2 hours. That seems like a pretty boring show. I feel like we should be providing value, and that value is, you know, you did a good job. We can see what you're going for. Here's how you could make it better, in our opinion.
We've been trying to figure out a good way to
with
for a long time.
What they want feedback on, and then maybe group all the models that are looking for similar things together, so you can kind of discuss models as a group.
No, that's an interesting idea.
Yeah, and I think there could be some traction to that to some degree. I think my problem with it, John, sort of, is that in the end, you know, every model's kind of got its own little story, and it's going to be hard to not just jump around, right, to where you're like, yeah, these guys all did an OSL thing that could have been better or whatever, but then at the same time, you're still going to end up coming back to them later to talk about some other point, too.
Or could you do it on like race-based submissions? Because if 2 or 3 different people are submitting models about lizard men, then you could look at, okay, so here's 3 different people, the way they've painted their Saurus, and this is a technique here, and this is how the balance, or here's some elves, and
maybe. I won't say no. I'll say maybe. My problem with that is that then you've got there's already 15 races, so that's a tough grouping. And then beyond that, you have, you know, sub things within each race, monsters and different things going on. And then beyond that, you've got that it's not just fantasy figs. You've also got, like, you know, War Machine figs in there and 40K figs in there and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, we've gone over so many different ways, and I've tried to think of other ways. But honestly, like, without delegating too much, it's really hard to get a good system down that's
And also it can make a lot of work for the people organising the show. I mean, you guys are giving up 3 hours of your time to actually present the show, another 3 hours prepping all the pictures into the same categories or discussion topic points that you want to talk about with them. It starts soaking up a significant amount of somebody's time.
Yeah, when I first made the PMP, I did it with that whole incentive point thing. And I kept track of that. I had an Excel sheet and everything, and we ended up getting like 100 members, and I just like had to come on and be like, all right, do you guys even care? Because I'm spending so much time on this. Is it all right if we stop doing this? Because it's a nice way to organize it, and it's a good way to get incentive. But I mean, realistically, people are motivating themselves to do it, and I don't know. It wasn't necessary in the end.
Yeah, I mean, I really feel like I would like there to be some kind of award thing that we do, you know, in the PMP. I don't know what that looks like, but I think awards are cool and fun, and I'd love to see something in there.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of good work I'd like to call out and recognize.
I agree with that.
If this is about painters motivating painters, then we should be rewarding, you know, best improvement, or courageous award for trying a new technique we haven't seen from you before and executing it well. That kind of thing, rather than
I like that idea a lot. I like that idea. Or even like having once a month be based on a particular type of technique and show examples of it. Maybe like as a bi-weekly thing. Show like these people show these techniques in their thing, and kind of you can explain how they did it and how to do that. So it can be educational and people get their stuff shown at the same time. That'd be interesting.
I mean, let's have a theme model for the month where you say, okay, we're interested in discussing fur, so we're going to pick out a variety of different examples of models with fur this month, and talk about looking at, you know, manes, tails, fur cloaks, that kind of thing. And then you could say, okay, so here's models who've got a lot of hard armor, sharp corners. How have people done that? You know, edge highlighting versus other techniques, and away you go.
Yeah, that's a good idea. We'll have to put that on the dartboard.
Yeah, I think that I really like that idea a lot, John, because I love the idea of having a theme, and each week or each month just having people kind of collectively vote, letting the community decide by vote of what the top model was that was done in theme. And of course, not everyone is going to necessarily have something that they submit in the theme for their end of month submissions, and that's okay. You know, it's not a big deal. Like, just in the months that you happen to be painting something that would fit for it, we make it broad categories. I like what you just, like the examples you just gave were pretty broad categories. You know, they touch a lot of armies and a lot of different types of models. So yeah.
And considering we'll have more than one team going, we could actually cover a wider basis too. We could each cover a certain branch, you know.
Well, based on what we were talking about half an hour ago, you could even have a theme of exotic skin types. You know, paint and submit a model with different to normal skin type. You know, and that could be an elf with black skin, or Afro-American skinned Brettonian knight, or anything you want to do.
Yeah. And then I was also thinking too, if we wanted to actually get like competitions, we could just have that be open to people who want to be in a competition. Just say, hey, this is going to be a competition month. If you guys want to enter your stuff in, then go ahead and put it on this bracket, and we'll involve you in that, and then figure out some kind of system through that. And then still do what we're doing with the technique subjects, and you can cover both ends. I mean, we don't have to do a contest every month, but it'd be good to get some of those in, so people that are like that kind of thing.
Now that's an idea. That's an idea, Vince. You could do a Brettonian knight with a helmet that handles his fro.
I hate modeling any Brettonian knight not wearing a helm.
Yeah.
Like I have no
That's
problem
what
with skin tone and stuff like that.
Take a great helm and put a big fluffy ball on top to handle the fro.
Sure. Kind of like the way that the dark elves are, because the dark elves all have their ponytails coming out the top of their helms, like the executioners.
Yeah. Well, you had that. You had that dark elf
fur.
Sparpool of Cain on the earlier PMP, where he had the little flames keeping the water warm and the chicks in the pool, and then he had a bobble hat on the Cain statue.
Yes, I loved it.
I love that.
That was Nick Pinsky, and that was just amazing. That conversion, hot time in the hot tub.
Well, one of the other guys on the Drucci.net forum, he modelled his cauldron as a cauldron of the dark elf goddess of pleasure. So his sparpool was filled with white fluid.
Da-dum ching. That
best possible taste.
Yes, I think earlier we had a discussion about the lack of females in our hobby. I hear stuff like that.
Now we can talk about it.
Yeah, and I just feel like stuff like that's probably not helping our situation any. But then, of course, I can't be too much of a hypocrite because I like painting female models, and I do have like an army of Slanesh and such. And I'm making a corn army that's all female models. Now that being said, I don't go for like gratuitous nudity or anything like that. My Keeper of Secrets is basically naked, but that's because she's basically naked. She's the Keeper of Secrets. I'll tell you what I'm really excited for is the Kickstarter for, I keep mentioning this on shows, but is for the Toughest Girls in the Galaxy 2 Kickstarter, because it's got like the religious female warrior army, and some of those models are just amazing. They can be both. So they can be both like the Adeptus Sororitas, the Sisters of Battle, and they can be fantasy, which there's no fantasy equivalent of it, but who cares? I'm picking one of those up for sure.
I'll have to check those out.
Yep, well, I bought into the Toughest Girls of the Galaxy 1 Kickstarter, and I have so far received one box of the freebies. I haven't yet got actually any girl models. So
that's a shame. I heard they were shipping out.
Breath on those guys.
Oh yeah, like I absolutely, I know. Yeah, yes, I have no illusions about that. Like their shipping date for the Toughest Girls in the Galaxy 2 is like March 2016. I was like, yeah, okay. So November 2016, I'll get those minis. Cool. Okay, that works.
Yeah, I know that they'll do it. I mean, they've already been, oversubscribed by about a factor of 10 inside of the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And I looked at it and I'm going, you guys are about 2 years too late for appealing to my need for Dark Elf models now that GW have brought out the new range. And I like the female Dark Elf models, but I just really don't need those.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm with that. It's that warrior chick army that sells me completely, because like if the look of the actual minis comes out anything even close to what the sketches look like, there won't be enough of those in the galaxy to satisfy my hunger for those models.
Are you talking about the ones that are effectively their version of Sisters Repentia, that are dressed in the sort of scrolls?
Yes. Yes, that's exactly who I'm talking about. There's a whole suite of them. Like, there's a whole army of them, obviously.
Yeah.
But yes, the ones in the scrolls are, like, the ones that just... I love it, because those Sisters Repentia, I find that, like, oh my god, those figs are amazing.
Do you have a link to this?
Sure, I can get one for you, yeah.
Because I keep hearing about it, but I've never checked them out.
Google Raging Heroes.
Okay. That's pretty straightforward.
Well, if you give me, like, 2 seconds, I'll grab you a link. I got the email sitting in my email still. There it is.
Yeah, I've been looking for some new good miniature models.
Well, they're a while away, like I said, but I think they will be great models.
Oh, yeah. Well, the few models I have got from the Toughest Girls in the Galaxy are awesome.
Do-do-do. There you go.
Thank you much.
Threw it in the chat there for you. Yeah, I mean, just look through those models. They're beautiful. But yes, the like Sisters Repentia equivalents, John. I like the. There's so many of them that I just think are absolutely stunning. There's ones that most of the Holy Warrior girls. I've pretty much decided that that's where my pledge is going, because I did already pledge to it. I got in on one of the like early bird tiers because I had a buddy who was watching it and so was there like day one right away and told me, and he's like, get in on it right now. So I did.
I'll check that out right one sec. Right now, sadly, I painted a couple of screamers, did those up, and then I did some outlining that I'm going to do a video on to cover what Alicia's critique was talking about. And
Okay.
now I'm repainting this HeroClick because I paid money for it and it looks like crap, and I'm so tired of it. And I might, if people are interested and they play this kind of game, I might actually put up a tutorial on how to repaint these, because it's actually really easy. And they're pretty good models themselves, like the sculpts are. It's just they're painted shit.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I would list that under games I've never had any interest in.
See, I'm a comic book nerd, so, and I played Mage Knight before it became HeroClick, so I just liked the system they had already in place. So for me, it was just, oh, right on. Superheroes in this game I already play.
Hey, don't get me wrong. I'm plenty of a comic book nerd myself, but yeah, I guess something about it just didn't click with me.
Well, the bad thing about it is it has the negatives of both Magic and Warhammer to it, right? Like cost-wise, because it has that random nature where you buy a pack each time, but yet like, to get what you actually need, you have to pay a crap load of money because it is so random. So,
Right.
Yeah, there's definitely negatives about it. But I'm a 90s child, so I collect stupid crap.
I don't think that's relegated to one particular decade.
All right.
Humanity collects stupid crap. Every generation just has their own particular stupid things that they like to collect.
Good point. Good point.
And when they're young, they collect them just for fun to beat them up. And then they get older, and then they send out like the American Pickers to go find the robot toys they had, and now they need to find the 6 in the country that aren't, totally beat up and beat to crap, so that they can have their super high-cost toy that they had when they were young.
I always wonder how many hoarders shows like that created. Because realistically, that makes you not want to throw away anything. It's like, oh, this could be worth thousands of dollars, maybe. For some people, anyways.
Oh, sure. No, I absolutely think that's probably the case.
Isn't it more those shows about treasure in lockers?
Oh,
Sometimes.
like Storage Wars and stuff? Yeah, those definitely exist too. I wish they didn't, but somehow they do.
There's a literal show where they go around to people's farms in Iowa and they just pick up antiques and offer them crap loads of money for stuff they have hoarded in a shed.
Good old American pickers.
Oh, yeah.
They have that here. It's called Antiques for Love or Money.
Oh, nice. There you go.
Oh, okay.
Like, I gotta give these guys credit, because, like, they were already doing this, and then they went to the History Channel, and they were like, hey, we're buying old stuff. That's like history. You should follow us around and pay for us to do this. And the History Channel was like, we'd love to. Sign us up. I mean, good for them.
And then it became all about ghosts and aliens.
Ghosts and aliens, yeah.
It's
Like, have you ever seen the show River Monsters? You familiar with this show?
yes.
About I think he's like a British guy who goes around the world and fishes in rivers for giant fish.
Yeah, I actually liked that show for a bit. It was kind of interesting. Some of the things you'd find, anyways.
That guy is a goddamn genius. He may be one of the most brilliant men alive. Okay?
Yeah, he's getting paid a lot of money to fish giant fish.
You can just stop right there. That guy clearly loves fishing. Okay? Like, he really, really loves fishing. And he was like, you know what I love? Fishing. But traveling all over the world is like, man, is that expensive.
Dear
Wait a
God,
minute.
it's genius.
What if I get somebody else to pay for my fishing? That's silly. Who would ever pay for me to run around the world and fish? And somebody was like, no, let's do that. That's the thing right there. And it worked. Damn genius, that guy. So yeah, full credit to him.
Yeah, seriously. Capitalism at its finest.
If only I could get the like TLC to be like, real stories of people painting models, and they just filmed me all day sitting here painting this, I could really be in the money.
Well, yeah, and then you could have like the dramatic reenactments of like interactions with people on the YouTubers Warhammer page and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's possible.
Riveting television there.
Yeah, of course.
Well, Vince, weren't you talking about doing a road trip around all of America and going and playing all of these different people in different countries at Warhammer? Isn't that pretty much the same thing?
I guess, yeah, kind of. Now I just need to get like the History Channel to back me for this play, but yes, absolutely, I am doing that. I'm still doing that this summer. You got it.
Yeah, that was a great idea, by the way.
I'm pretty excited about it. It'll be nice, like, because that's probably the only vacation I'm realistically going to take this year. So it'll be a nice vacation. I don't like to take vacation very much. I like what I do quite a bit. So, we're in April and I haven't taken a day off this year or even contemplated doing it. So
you're one of the fortunate few, then.
I am very much one of the fortunate few in that I love what I do to my heart and soul. I work on the weekends all the time not because I have to, but because I want to. So it's that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. I'm kind of hoping this comic thing ends up taking off. If I keep getting clients, that'd be nice. And I'll be able to keep it going. It's weird. When I was little, I always wanted to be a comic book artist. I would just be like, my parents would be like, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And I'm just like, "I want to draw comics." And they would just kind of laugh and assume that it was something else. You know, other people had like very, very high level dreams. You know, I want to be a doctor or something. No, I just want to draw like Todd McFarlane. And yeah, once you grow up and realize how easy it is to be that, it's kind of sad. It's just like, okay, this is completely realistic to be. I'm just going to be poor for quite a while.
Yes, it all depends on how you measure your success, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Which I don't mind. It's not that big of a deal for me. It's nice.
But yeah, I mean, I think absolutely, it's the kind of thing that, again, that's another one of those modern world things where.
Well, don't a lot of people into arts go down with the sort of challenge between being artistic and being commercial?
Yeah, that's because you can get decent jobs being commercial. That's the whole thing. You're not really drawing what you want. I mean, it's awesome if you like to draw and you draw like a really cool picture of the Hulk and that's satisfying to you, but when you have to draw like a page of street lamps, it's a whole new world, and you have to get it done by these certain times at a level of quality that they expect. It starts to ruin it. It's the same with like commissions with painting and everything like that. I've kind of dabbled in it all, so I know what to expect. It just at least I can get over that part. But in the beginning, it's hard to grasp. Just like, well, it's my art. I don't want to sell out for money, but you've trained all your life to do it.
You're saying you train all your life to sell out in one way or another, so just get on board with it?
Well, you do what you can to make money, and then you can do your own thing on the side. Just you have to recognize it.
Absolutely. I'm down with that. I like that attitude. In the end, I'm not a big fan of the concept of selling out. I find it kind of silly.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing selling out about having, like, electricity on, or, being able to feed your family.
But you've got two choices with a job, right? You either do a job for somebody and do what they want, or you do something and then look for somebody to sell it to?
Yeah. Yeah, I can try to offer my own art and make a demand for it, which is a lot harder to do than doing, like, say, a Photoshop with a kitty saying,
so
like,
would you rather...
Buy from Petco. Sorry, what were you saying? Did the delay catch up?
I don't know. But yes, I agree. It's the corporate advertising is that's the one, right? That's the big, like, hey, that's how you're going to get yourself in trouble, working on that kind of stuff, because it's lucrative, and at the same time it's addictive because it's pretty good money.
Exactly. It's a slippery slope, definitely. All right.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. It's a bit like a conversation we were having today, right? About GW's invested 20 years in building up the intellectual property around the Warhammer world, more or less as it is today.
Okay. So you're stating that they made the demand for their product? Is that what I'm gathering, or am I off base?
Can you turn your commercial art talents to things like website design, Whoopi?
Yeah, yeah. I'm actually doing that right now. I'm making my own art studio, making a website for that. Websites are pretty fun. I actually don't mind website programming. It's kind of an interesting language to learn. Did you ever dabble in that, Vince?
Yeah, they spent 20 years creating a game where you needed to buy Empire Knights or you needed to buy Dark Elf Corsairs, and then they make the model to address the demand that they've created.
Okay, I gotcha. Yeah, I'm following you.
No, in fact, I do not. Nothing programmatic like that. Well, all of my design work is, well, I shouldn't say that. I like do software design for a living, but like in my personal time, I prefer old school design. Books. I like books.
That's
good old-fashioned paper.
That's kind of a similar process, selling yourself with a book. That's in some ways even harder.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Like, I mean, but again, like my most recent book, like this was my 6th book. It's that poster right there. That's from my most recent book, the thing you see behind me. And that cover art is by a guy named Brett Barkley, by the way, who is an absolutely amazing artist. We had about 20 or 25 like really great artists on that book. Whoopi, if I would have known you at that time, I would have certainly had you do something for us as well. But you know, I didn't know you yet when we published that book.
Oh, it's all right. It's all right.
And sadly, apparently, my future self did not yet invent a time machine and allow me to go back and recruit you. So, you know, there you go. What do you do? Bastard future self, I'll tell you what.
Or maybe I just die pretty soon. You know, there's so many things that can happen in the future.
That's a good point. Maybe you're dead. All right. Maybe I'm not a bastard. Way to find the bright side, buddy.
Yeah, you know, I try.
But yeah, I mean, you know, like we funded that through Kickstarter, right? So, and you know, we ran a successful Kickstarter, and you and I talked about this a little bit, you know. And let me tell you what, man, you know, Kickstarter is really cool. It's awesome that it lets you do that stuff, but it's not like Easy Town. I mean, it was really to do everything. I mean, I wasn't joking. It was probably 1,000 man-hours of work for everything we did.
To prep it for the Kickstarter, or are you just talking about the work on the book alone?
The work on the book, the work on the the work on the Kickstarter. I don't know, man. Probably the work on the Kickstarter was probably coming pretty close to that. I mean, it was just so much work. It's hard to even imagine how much work went into that. Just hours and hours and hours of work. But the book itself, a lot too. You know, just layout and writing and editing and rewriting and all that kind of stuff. But the Kickstarter itself was an amazingly intense process. It was also pretty awesome. It's you know, it's pretty cool, but it's very stressful. It's very stressful when you have a big backer back out on you. You know, when you're not a giant Kickstarter that's like hundreds of thousands of dollars over your mark. If you have like some big tier and somebody backs out on you and you drop a couple $100, you're like, oh man, you know, you really feel that.
Yeah, I can see that. And the fact that you can't really control that, it's like a unsteady loan almost. It's like off the bank's just like, no, we're gonna drop out here for a bit.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. It was both one of the most rewarding and stressful months of my life was running that Kickstarter.
Man, yeah, I was looking at those. I still don't know how I feel about it. I don't know. I'm still thinking about it. I might end up doing one to get the digital comic off, because that's going to take a bit. The editing software to get that up as a digital comic is pretty expensive to have it quality anyways.
Sure.
So, I don't know. Still thinking about it.
Fair enough.
And I really don't want to do anything like that unless I am 100% sure I can do it, you know?
Oh, yeah, you better be committed. Yeah, no joke.
Isn't that the same for all projects? The reward is directly proportional to the stress while doing it?
Yes, I think that is probably very true.
Yeah, I can see merit in that.
Like, yes, I think that's exactly right, John. That which is earned too easily is esteemed too lightly. Thomas Paine was a very wise man.
It's funny. Every time we do a late night Paintisode, we always end up getting somehow on this philosophical track. Maybe it's just me. I don't know if I...
Let's not misabuse that word, shall we? We haven't gotten anything philosophical yet.
Okay, thought-provoking. I apologize.
Fair enough. One of my big pet peeves is the misuse of the word, or the misapplication.
I run projects for a living, and
philosophy.
A large, high-profile corporate project, it's great when you do it, but it can be hard yakka in the middle of it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I am a project manager as well, or in my normal life, and yes, it is both incredibly rewarding and incredibly stressful.
For those watching, if you're still watching this, he is on a bit of a time delay, so if the communication's off a little bit, just in case you're wondering, that's why there's little bouts of silence.
Yes, I'm trying to figure out how delayed you are, John, right now, because it kind of comes and goes, I think.
Yeah, it does.
We'll see when he responds to my question, and then we'll know how delayed he was.
Yeah, I should time it. Oh. Yeah, no, I know what you mean. Instead of actually using actual philosophies that about things, it's just kind of like a thought of life.
Philosophy is a very careful academic rigor about things that can be, sort of examined critically and logically. All the rest is just, examinations or whatever. Yes, it's still certainly philosophy and crap like that, but...
Well, for a while, I was here...
Okay. I think that answered the question.
There you go.
There we go.
I keep hearing Vince echoing and echoing and echoing and echoing back through the conversation.
Wow, weird.
Huh.
That's how delayed you are, yes. I can type to him and the chat will go right away. That is pretty funny.
Man. What time is it? 4 a.m. Right on. I'm going to have to go to work in 2 hours.
Nice.
With that
being... the issue why the delay is because we have to send this Hangout all the way to Middle Earth, where John is. So.
Yeah. It's not just a distance. It's time and space. We're going to a totally different reality.
Mm-hmm.
But I should probably start getting ready for work. With that being said, thank you for hosting this. We got some good discussing about PMP at least. And Monday I'm going to be...
I got the bit about 5 minutes ago in the chat.
It's so awesome.
Oh, man.
It's like we're having a conversation with our past self.
It's true. Oh my gosh. With that being said, thank you for having me on, Vince. Check us out Monday. We're probably going to be doing something with Victor and the European invasion.
Yeah, bandwidth in Mordor sucks.
Absolutely. Yes.
Well, bandwidth in Mordor does suck. All right. Later, man. There you guys.
I think I'm going to call it as well.
All right.
I wish I have to type to John, so he knows. All right.
Yeah,
well,
I'll keep going for another 5 minutes after you've gone then.
Right. Oh, there, you kind of caught up there a little. But that was quicker. Oh, wait. That's because I typed it. Durr. All right. Anyway, thank you all, people who are still watching this late at night. And I hope we managed to entertain you and amuse you in equal parts. Thanks for watching another Paintisode. I promise we'll have even more super long Paintisodes coming. I have crazy ideas in the works. And yeah, so tune in for the next one. Other than that, see y'all later.